Okay, hello, okay, shut up, Ken. Hello, you're listening. Hello, this is Ken Teachers. Ken is naked. And he is a king.
Good morning, good afternoon, Whoa, what am I doing here? Oh, stupid thing.
We're in a cave!
I hear echoes! What is happening?
It's
crap.
triple the fun!
So somehow this is coming back through, and I don't know why. Let's see.
Restart them audio cables, bro.
Yeah, it has to be. Alright, quick audio cable check. Any better?
Much better.
My!
It's amazing how those audio cables like to misbehave when you're letting them hang out before the show. Silly extra entities. It's like I get everything else done and right just in time to start things, and next thing you know, no show for you. Anyhow, it is Sunday, June 8th, 2014. How are you doing today, Ken?
I am doing absolutely fan-freaking-tastic today, sir. How about yourself?
I am doing very well, and for everyone who is listening in and caught the introduction there, you should know that whenever I play what is labeled as our silly intro, it's usually because there is something different going on with today's show. In this case, it is because we are joined with two other guests today. Would you each like to say hi?
No.
I second that.
Or
There
not.
will be no saying hi.
So as you can hear, we have both our friends Hando and Octale joining us today on the show. And you should be able to see in the video wall that although it looks like Hando is just going to sit and spin all day here instead of actually getting on with the video, they're in there as
nothing
well.
I can do about it.
So, last minute stuff. That's all right. We will go old-fashioned on this and let people see the IRC instead. So I will transition that one over. But yes, we have two guest hosts with us as well today. So let's switch that over and get those going. But let's go ahead and get things kicked off right away today with a little bit of
functional deviations.
So with this, Ken, what have you been up to this week?
Well, my good sir, I've been up to a few things. Nothing particularly exciting, nothing crazy. Haven't stabbed anyone this week. But I've done some fun things for me. My home is currently sparkling. I spent the whole weekend cleaning it, and it is now looking glorious. I'll see how many days or hours it lasts, but I'm happy at the moment with it. And I also mentioned last week that I had my driving test on Saturday
yes.
there. My
And
theory
how
test,
did that
not the
go?
full thing. It's just the first part of it, of two halves. And I was really looking forward to doing it, getting over and done with and stuff, and passing, hopefully. And so I get my journey all planned. Using public transport, I leave a little bit early and get the earlier bus just to make sure it's all okay. And somehow, the frickin' McGill's bus company nearby, for some reason thought it was completely okay for this bus to be very late, and the next bus to be very early. So even though I got an earlier bus, I still missed the next one I needed to get, and there was absolutely no taxis available at the taxi rank. I called about 5 different companies, none were available. I had 20 minutes until my test began, and it would be at least a half-hour drive when I realized that there's no way of me getting there in time. So I didn't fail, I didn't pass, but I failed the stupid test of actually getting to the test center first rather than actually, sitting the test. So ups and downs. I'm quite peeved at that because you spend weeks revising, getting ready. I had all these the amount of tread allowed on your tires memorized in millimeters, a bunch of rules for UK driving, etc. All there and ready. I was confident and didn't get to do it, and it's a waste of money and time as well, So
Tell them how much you spent.
It was £35, nothing crazy, but it's also the time I spent at lunch breaks recently, the time I spent getting there and traveling that morning, the fact that I didn't stay up late on Friday night, I went to bed nice and early and got up early so I can get there in time, all that went to waste. And it's, it's not the worst thing. I mean, nobody died and there's nobody with any serious diseases or anything, but it's still a bit freaking annoying, and that's all I wanted to vent about.
So Ken, I'm a little scared now because my livelihood in the future may very well depend on the dependability of public transport in Europe. and you're not inspiring a lot of confidence either.
Okay, so the UK public transport system is generally quite good. Generally. This is the first occasion that I've never had experienced anything that bad, ever. I mean, I get the bus to work every morning and back every night, and it's always been reliable otherwise. Just this one time. Of course, the one time it really mattered, I guess.
Okay. Now, so we need to investigate this further. There wasn't, like, a rugby match or a soccer game or any...
I'm not the guy to know. There may have been. I'm not a big sports fan, other than maybe esports, because I'm a geek that way. So I can't tell you. I think the World Cup might have been on, now that I think about it, and that would possibly explain it. Let me just go look.
I'm just saying, if there was a rugby match on in Wales, the UK, France, the All Blacks, Australia, well, really anybody but Italy, had showed up in Scotland, then it might be a pretty depressing day for all the rugby fans.
Yep, it was England versus Honduras yesterday. It was a pre-World Cup friendly. So that may explain it. Sigh. So that's been my week and all its excitingness. But that gives us lots of time to go through everybody here. So, who should we have next, Mr. Wayne?
I'd like to know, Hando, what have you been up to recently since the last show, or just in general that you'd like to let people know about that's not been overly geeky?
Well, I'll have to mix some geek in with some regular stuff. So I sent an email in last week saying that I was sort of on my... It's sort of like the seasonal vacation for people that work in the audiovisual industry, because everything goes completely nuts for the entire month of May, and then right as Memorial Day hits, all anyone cares about is going on vacation, and all the show planners are like, leave me alone, everyone just piss off, and so...
Yeah, same amount, dude.
Yeah, so I took the time, just kind of, I'm not getting as much work in as I would like to, but the thing I did this week that was filling up a lot of that time, and this is kind of geeky, and I'll talk about it a little bit more later, but I went and got myself some Wildstar. So I've been playing that and enjoying that, and it's actually there's like so much to look at in the game. I find myself getting very easily distracted, so I haven't been getting much done at all. So. But that's about it. That's pretty much my week right there.
Cool.
Outstanding. Nice and succinct. So on to you, Octale.
Oh my. Where to start?
He stabbed 3 people.
That's right. I picked up a couple of video games since last I talked to folks in general. The first one's a $5 game that's on Steam right now called The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, yes.
And the only reason why I know about this game is because one of the people that I follow on Twitch has a Binding of Isaac League Racing, or boiler. And it's a really slick setup, and the guy who does it, does play-by-play while the people are racing. And it's pretty good. They do, and it's not all the time, it's every so often, but if there were quarterfinals yesterday, there's going to be semifinals and maybe the finals today, but I think they start at 4 o'clock Eastern time, I think. So, right after the show. So I'm going to be watching some Binding of Isaac Racing League. The other game I bought some time ago was Watch Dogs.
Ooh.
I love when video game companies get it and then decide to tell everybody that they get it in a way that everybody's not used to, so everybody flips the F out. Because that's what Watch Dogs did. Watch Dogs is... and I wrote a blog post about this and a review about this, but Watch Dogs...
Oh yeah, I read that.
Which is available on the website for anyone who wants to go check it out, www.vtwproductions.com.
That's a good read on the bus, boy, let me tell you.
He's learned so much since 2010.
Oh.
He's all grown up.
Wait, hold on. Was that the last time ONH was on? 2010? 4 years ago?
No, ONH sort of stuck around until 2011, but Wayne joined the show 2009, 2010, somewhere in there.
Sometime
right.
End of 2009 or something like that.
Something like that. Anyway.
Still, that's a long time, geez.
It's been 5 years, I know. Watch Dogs is great. I haven't had any performance issues with it. But then again,
None of the
I'm not one of those
stuttering that
people-
everyone else talks about?
Nope, I haven't seen it a bit. Haven't seen a lick of it. I haven't experienced the problems that everybody has with the driving physics. Like, to me, the driving physics seems to work okay because a rear-engined Ferrari drives different than a Fiat 500.
This is good.
You'd expect. Drives different from a Chevy Avalanche or a Honda Ridgeline, which you'd expect. So, I mean,
Well, so that's a
it
question.
made sense. It made sense to me, I guess. Go ahead, Wayne. What's your question?
Well, it's just as you were talking about the cars in the game, partly just because one of the things I've been involved with today, which was car shows. But this game, is it using actual licensed cars, like real cars you'd recognize from the world? Because so many other games have to do their little pseudo ones. Grand Theft Auto has all, the Banshee, which is a Viper, and
no,
its own ones.
So they didn't license all of these things. But when you walk up to a thing that's squatter front to back than a VW Bug, but still looks like a VW Bug, that's
Gotcha.
a Fiat 500.
Okay, I just wondered because I recognize cars pretty well, and so I wasn't sure if they had gone so far as to put real vehicles in games. God, I keep waiting for that.
Right.
Why is it only racing games? Why?
Because it costs so much, man.
Way too expensive. Way too expensive.
Stupid car companies.
Like, you're talking about taking a $100 million budgeting game and essentially doubling it, right? Because you have to go to Chevy, and you have to go to Ford, and you have to go to Chrysler, and you have to go to Ferrari, and you have to go to Audi, and then you probably can't even just go to Audi to get, like, Audi, VW, Lambo, like, all of those badges. You probably have to go to each business
individual,
division
like,
separately.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you just can't go to Audi and say, give me a blanket license for every badge under your conglomeration or whatever. You'd have to go to each business unit separately. So you're talking about $89 million in licensing.
Yeah, just licensing for some car names.
To get cars. Yeah. But I originally thought the rear engine thing might have been an Audi R8. Then I looked a little bit more at the brake lights, turn signals. Then I went, oh, that's a Ferrari, like a 458. Just a rear engine.
Yeah, no,
V8.
being able to see specifically which one. Nice.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the story's all right. But like I said in the review, the place where the thing really shines is the invasion collectible cutscenes. I talked about some of them in the review. All of them are, some of them are a little sick, but most of them are hilarious. One of the ones that I ran across last night, this dude is standing in a hallway in front of the door to an apartment, and you can hear his girlfriend or wife talking on the phone to a girlfriend of hers, telling the girlfriend that the dude is no good in bed.
Haha.
And the dude just looks at his flower, looks at the door, looks at his flower, throws the flower on the ground and walks off.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And it's amazing.
Oh,
Oh, man.
oh, that's so sad.
It's hilarious.
Wow.
I called it video game chicken soup for the soul, but I'm a cynic. So, anybody that I find out in a world, virtual or otherwise, that's got it worse off than me, is like, that's an affirmation. I'm not doing so bad.
Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, you don't expect those kind of feels when you're playing a game like that. You're trying to hack stuff, and it's all cool, and then suddenly there's this guy who is just extremely sad about his life.
He suddenly gets
falling for this
crushed.
girl, and she's making fun of him behind his back. Oh, it's so sad. Oh, that would make me stop playing for a bit. I think it would.
Now, granted, I chuckle about that, but I mean, yeah, that's sad. That's horrible. Totally not an evil person.
There are friend zonings. There's a guy. There's a guy who is dead in his apartment, and he's getting a phone call from like a family member talking about how great it is that his cancer's gone into remission.
Oh no!
Oh, that's so depressing. Oh,
That one I was a little dark. That one
A little bit.
Wow, they went there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Here, have
So-
these feels. Ugh.
Yeah, it was. It's
Right
been
the
good.
feels.
It's been good. I've enjoyed it. And the other thing I've really been doing, and I'm sorry this is going really long for me, but I don't get to be on the show that much, so I
Oh,
have
you're
lots
fine.
of
Go ahead,
updates.
go ahead.
You got files backed up. You need to update.
Quite. John Paul and I have gone to see a couple of flicks. So the one we saw last Monday was Maleficent,
Okay.
which has transitioned Angelina Jolie to full-on MILF status, if she
Ooh.
wasn't already.
Hmm.
And how was it? Did you
She
enjoy
was-
it? I've heard a lot of
she
good things
was-
about it.
Hot and evil.
Oh.
Interesting.
So-
What's just a quick sentence of what that's about? I don't think I've seen any kind of ads on it. I think I've just heard the name and I don't really know what it's about.
Sleeping Beauty from the bad guy's point of view.
Ah, okay.
It's really all you need to know.
Hmm.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
one that
good.
I hadn't heard much about, so I was kind of curious.
No, it's definitely worth. It's definitely worth the $7.50 to $10 that a ticket to
Usual.
the theater would cost you to go and see. For sure.
Hmm.
And the one that we saw the week before that was X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Oh, did you enjoy that?
Yes.
I have fear now, and I usually don't get scared about storytelling in movies in particular, but I'm seeing the beginnings of a trend, and based on what we're hearing about the favorite piece of my childhood from a storytelling perspective, which would be Star Wars, I have fear. And the reason why I say that is, spoiler alert, everybody that you thought was dead in the X-Men pantheon in the films, not actually dead.
Yeah.
They basically erased the last movie, or what was that, Last Stand. They were like, okay, yeah, that didn't happen. Like, just forget that happened.
Well,
Isn't
thank
that
God it
kinda-
was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
I was
really
going to say,
bad.
in a way,
But
I'm
it-
actually quite
yeah.
happy about that because I really
So they wrote themselves into a bit of a corner with the third X-Men film, and I was okay
Yes.
with that because I really thought that Marvel Studios, under the Disney banner, was going to just reset the X-Men, and then
Yeah.
great. I mean, we already reset Spider-Man, so that's all good. We can certainly reset the X-Men, and we'll have a
except
new
that
cast full of young kids, and no
except
problem.
they can't legally do that because they don't have the
Except-
rights to the X-Men.
Apparently they can't do that. So unbeknownst to me, I didn't know that they couldn't do that. So this world is all continuous now, and they did the time travel.
Oh, you're kidding me. I
No,
didn't
they
know
did
that.
the time travel.
Oh.
They projected essentially Wolverine back to the past.
The only thing we're missing is a 20-year-old Klingon bird of prey.
So
So J.J. Abrams did the alternate reality, different future thing with the Star Trek reset, and I was okay with that. And now we've done the time travel thing with X-Men without getting too deep into the plot to sort of reset the corner that they painted themselves into from a storytelling perspective, right? With X-Men Last Stand. And now Disney announced that they're purging the entirety of Star Wars Expanded Universe.
woohoo!
In the
Yeah, that was one of our good topics we had. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
in the lead up to episode 7, 8, and 9. Okay, fine. So you take that by itself and it would be okay. Then you take the rumor that one of the actors that's been cast for Star Wars Episode 7 is supposed to play the child of Han and Leia Solo, that's supposed to be a very powerful Force user that gets tempted by the dark side. I think we all know who that is.
if they're going to be proper about it.
Well, right, it should be Jason Solo. It's not going to be Jason Solo
I was gonna
because
say,
Jason Solo
here's-
doesn't exist anymore.
Here's the problem, because that's where we don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Well, that's the thing. They might just do the same stuff or very similar to in the books. maybe they just didn't want to worry too much about having all these thousands of different lines of story from games and from books and from manga and all these thousands of different things, and having to worry about them. And they just want a clean slate.
No, that was
for
their
most of the people
absolute
who've just seen
excuse
the
about
films.
it. That was their excuse, was to say that they wanted to give the filmmakers a clean slate to work with. However, the problem is like everything else that's currently happening with Star Wars, they're pissing on everyone's childhood openly. Like, it's
Not
almost
everyone.
like a fountain of it.
I'd say
But-
a small number of people in comparison. I think most people who like Star Wars have only seen the films. I think there's only a small number of people who actually do anything else with the series, whether it be manga, etc.
Okay, Ken, that's totally fair, and I get that, and that's fine. But
Screw you!
no, not at all, not at all. What my fear is, with J.J. Abrams at the helm of this film, that they're going to do with Star Wars what they did with Star Trek.
Yeah.
Was that they picked and did the pick and choose thing for what they're going to bring from the other universe and what they're going to leave behind.
Of course they are, yeah.
So when they recycle the worst scene from Star Trek Wrath of Khan and stick it into Star Trek Into Darkness, and suddenly I'm in the theater going, oh my god, we're going to get Chekhov's Comedy Hour in the next Star Trek film, and a 20-year-old Klingon bird of prey that nobody's seen, and Save the Whales again, which is the third worst movie of all time, by the way. I'm very scared that J.J. Abrams is going to pick and choose the worst elements of the Star Wars expanded universe and go, I want that, I want that, I want that.
That's
And
probably that's
all
almost a
of this-
guarantee it's going to happen.
All
I hope
of
it does.
this
That's hilarious.
gold- all of this gold that's just out there and doesn't exist anymore,
It's fool's gold,
Just
I
gets-
tell you. It's really
it
pyrite.
just gets left on the toilet, or left in the toilet, left on the floor in the toilet room, or whatever.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that's going to happen.
No,
But I suppose just like anything else, we just gotta hope that it's going to be, the stuff we actually enjoy, and people they actually listen to the fans, listen to the forums, etc., and just do what they should be doing.
Yeah, I trust that to
the
happen.
only way this would be worse is if Damon Lindelof was writing the script. Because Damon Lindelof wrote Prometheus, where he sort of
Oh,
did the pee-pee dance all over my aliens, and then he was on the writing team for Star Trek Into Darkness, where they did the pee-pee dance all over my Star Trek. So
I like
you
these
guys-
films though. I like those ones.
but has anyone seen the director's cut for Prometheus? Because I heard that was supposed to be way different from what we saw in the theaters, and it was supposed to be halfway decent. Or can anyone confirm that?
I do not know
Really?
that. That I haven't seen or
I did
heard, because
not.
after seeing it the once, I didn't need to see it again.
Like I heard in the director's cut, the alien, like the not the alien like the
Spoiler
the chest
alert.
burster, but the spoil. No, it's not a spoiler alert. It's actually just a piece of info. But the alien, like the white skinned blue-eyed guy, he actually
Proto-human.
responds to like they actually chat with each other. It's not just the guy says something to him and then he picks up a helmet and bashes his head in. The way the theatrical release ended.
Oh, interesting. That part would actually be. I'd be a little more curious to know what is said or what kind of transpires there, because they do
Yeah,
leave that
just a-
pretty flat.
Yeah, it was terrible. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. And from the context, one other thing, I started watching Breaking Bad.
Ah,
Okay.
I need to start doing that.
Now,
Nice.
I still am of the opinion that House of Cards is the best show on television,
Ah, yes, I enjoyed that thoroughly.
but I'm just missing the boat because I'm in the middle of season 2, and I'm waiting for I'm sitting on the edge, waiting for this thing that's supposed to make this show the best show in the history of ever.
Season 2 is kind
happen.
of. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really hear people start really talking about it until like last couple seasons.
Okay, that's fine. If I need to give it more time, I can do that. I
Um,
just
Yeah, I'd
I
say
just
just some time
was
to build.
curious. Okay, no worries.
But it's a damn good series. It's a damn good series completely. I mean, it is fantastic. But is not the best on TV, I'd say. I've never watched House of Cards, mind you, but currently, according to statistics as well, Game of Thrones is kicking Breaking Bad's ass.
Okay, well, I'm not surprised by that.
Well,
either.
so admittedly, Game of Thrones has a great story, and I in a way I've caught into it not because I watched it at all, more because after listening to the books on audiobook, I'm at that same stage as everyone else who read the books and such, going, I can't wait for the rest of the people to catch up, because I already know where the season finale this year should be, and if they do it right, everyone that was like, oh my god, the Red Wedding, will be like, ah, and it'll be even better. Hear everyone's reactions about that. But
spoilers.
Yeah. And so with that, I'm just kind of, I'm waiting for everyone there. And I thought Game of Thrones is a lot of fun, although there's some slow parts that I'm curious how they're going to address from the next book. Where Breaking Bad, now I have not watched all of it. I saw, I think, the first season and a half, and I still mean to get back to it. It's one of those shows that fell off the radar for me, not because it's bad, but because I got distracted with too many other things. So I'm curious.
It's Breaking Bad.
What?
I just made a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
But
But Octale, so far you've been enjoying Breaking Bad?
yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's fine. It's not what I was expecting, I guess.
In a good or a bad way?
Well, what were you expecting then?
I don't know. I was expecting.
He was expecting zombies.
I was expecting no. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but when you hear people talk about how good it is, I guess I was.
Well,
I guess I was expecting more.
The thing is, you gotta care, Like, if you care about the characters and you care about what happens to them and you start getting into it, then all the revelations and the drama that happen, you will find absolutely mind-blowing and you'll think it's just fantastic. If you just think, I don't like this character, he kind of sucks, and just pay half attention to the show, when stuff happens, you'll be like, whatever. I don't care about his emotional breakdowns, etc., or whatever happens, or this person dying and so on. So you kind of gotta give it not only your time, but your attention as well,
Okay. All right. I mean, I will continue. I will continue watching it. Obviously, it's not so bad that I turned it off and went like, I don't understand what all the hubbub's about. Like, I mean, it's good, but it feels predictable.
Okay. I look forward to when you go into the next couple of seasons. And if you still follow that same mindset, because I know I was thoroughly surprised by it.
If I haven't given it enough time, I haven't given it enough time. I think I'm like, what was the first season? Like 9 episodes or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm only 13 episodes in, and I'm trying to make a correlation between House of Cards and Breaking Bad, or a contrast between House of Cards and Breaking Bad, in as much as Breaking Bad was on A&E, right?
I have no idea.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it was.
So, Breaking Bad is on A&E. House of Cards is on Netflix exclusively. And I'm trying to, so House of Cards is edgier, obviously, because it's not on TV. Breaking Bad has its edgy moments, but they're a different kind of edgy moment. So I'm trying to compare and contrast the two. And 13 episodes in, I don't think I like Breaking Bad as much as I liked House of Cards.
Well, that's fair enough.
I guess is where I'm going with that.
If all you're saying is it's not my most favorite TV series of all time, but I'm still enjoying it, that's not a bad thing.
Okay, fair enough.
When I watched it, I thought it was my favorite ever. But since then, I've been really enjoying Game of Thrones and the likes.
Sure.
So I think it's while you're watching it, if you get pulled in, and like if you do like what I did and just watch like seasons at a time and just inhale it all at once, then you really I felt like I was really caring about the characters. And since then, I don't know, I feel like I missed them. It's like when you read a book constantly for a whole day and you finish it and you're like, it's over. I'll never find out anything else but what happens because there is nothing else. It's the same with Breaking Bad, I found. So I don't know. It depends on how you consume it, I think, as well as you're currently watching as well.
Fair enough. So I think I've taken up way.
No worries. It is good to catch up. And so with that, I will jump into my somewhat random parts of a geeky week. what little I've been doing, I've been busy as always. The first thing is I just got back in time this morning from going to the Concours d'Elegance car show that is going on today here in Denver, which
I
I've
thought
talked
you were
about.
back in time from the 70s with your hair like that, sir.
Oh no, sir, this is modern. Like all good things, it has come back to stay.
Oh,
And this car show, what's great about it is it's the one I talk about each year going to that has millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of cars out there. In fact, this time, one of the, gosh, there's so many highlights, but there'll be pictures, so that's where I'll really go with in the long term. But just real quickly, they had, some of my favorites was they had the original Shelby Cobra there again. That's in town, so I don't know how much that thing's worth these days. At least $500,000, if not more. They had several, like all the Audis and Ferraris and stuff like that again, all the nice Lotuses. And gosh, a beautiful black Lotus Esprit that was out there, one of the original turbos. I think those things still go for 110 or so. But
Is this the one? Is this the one where you took a bunch of pictures last year? It was like outside on the. They had
Yep.
the cars on the
It's
grass.
in the
so
grass,
They had to
it's-
like clean them like because they were rolling on the grass and.
Well, because it's a white glove car show, so all the cars that are actually
Oh,
going
yeah,
up
yeah.
for prizes, they have people come around and lab coats. They're inspecting it, like a 100-point inspection of the car. Everything that I always say, from taking a finger and running it underneath the gas cap on the car to see if there's any dirt. So the level of detail they check is ridiculous. But because of that, the cars you see are all in some of the most pristine condition you could ever imagine. And so anyone who likes cars even in the least bit, this is one of these amazing shows to go check out. For you, Octale, I got to see a couple. They had a whole bunch from the Mustang Club that was there, and one of them, or a couple of them, were the Shelby Cobra GT, whatever, the snake skinner ones. And so
Okay.
these are the, one of them was putting out 800 horse, I want to say, out of its supercharger. Cars like that. They had two McLaren MP14 or 12-Cs or whatever, MP14 12-Cs, whatever, the two McLaren cars out there, as well as a McLaren race car that was there, and they had the new McLaren, the topless one that was, God, this thing was sexy. I don't even know what the
Topless
proper
things
name
tend to
of
be.
it. It was like a 640 something, 640C or something like that, with, I believe, that being the horsepower it's driving after. Just all kinds of great cars. But I did that first thing this morning, and it was bad because I think I might be operating. Gosh, how much sleep have I had? If I'm lucky, I had about 4 hours because I was out at a friend's welcome back party. Someone who was out of town, they threw a party last night, and I don't know why. I have suspicions as to how, but somehow I got really inebriated really quickly. Really badly.
Did you eat anything yesterday?
So I had like a peanut butter sandwich. Yeah.
That's it.
And
That'll
a
ward off the
a
alcohol.
slice of pizza during the event. Oh, and some rum
Fred,
cake at the event.
Red
And so-
soaks up the.
Yeah, so the rum cake that I had, that should have helped. But I think the problem was there was a new rum at the liquor store that I hadn't seen that was on sale that I tried. And as I got that, 2-liter Dr. Pepper, good to go. And man, I think it was the size of the cup I was given to mix in. And I didn't realize until the second time I poured, but I probably put about, in my second glass, I put at least like 7 or 8 shots worth of rum and then filled it up. And it was such a nice rum that you couldn't taste it really.
Do you think you're a Scotsman, sir? What's wrong with you?
No, I am definitely not, because oh man was I suffering. I was so inebriated that night, last night, that I got to the point I was like, I felt ill just staying awake, but I felt like if I slept it would be worse. And at one point I apparently passed out on the kitchen floor.
Oh, Jesus.
And I appreciated it because
We're getting
it
into
was
Nicolas Cage
nice.
territory here.
So it was nice because it was cool.
Oh,
So it
welcome
felt
back to high
comfortable.
school.
It was one of those things where I was like, oh, this feels nice. The tile's nice and cool. I'm just gonna lay right here. Oh my goodness.
Very nice.
And
Classy.
yeah, although I
Classy
did a
work
good
back.
job and I didn't heave or anything like that, although I did hug a toilet for a little while just in case. And yeah, so got up from that, and eventually made my way home just in time to get cleaned up, showered and everything, to go out to this car show. And I found, oddly enough, that one, having Taco Bell's new breakfast menu first thing in the morning after waking up, because just like after a night of drinking, nothing soothes like Taco Bell or something. And walking around in somewhat hot sunlight, looking at cars, really gets all the alcohol out of you. And so I'm feeling pretty chipper now, oddly enough. So yes. But
Roxy
the car show
says,
was...
"Why is the rum always gone?"
Oh yes, and oh god, because rum is so good. I love me the rum. I probably would have been fine if I hadn't like drank half a bottle in an hour. Hoi! But beyond that,
Fish posh.
yeah, exactly. I've been working on some cosplay projects, and I should really post pictures of this. So this is kind of that shredding on geeky, but so a couple things. I'll talk about 3D printing after this, but for the cosplay stuff, a friend of mine, and I've been working for a few weeks on this. In fact, Kuro helped me out with it the last time he was up. She is going to be cosplaying as a female version of Ash from the Evil Dead series, and in doing so, we built the chainsaw that Ash uses. And I have to say, I feel like we did a really good job.
She knows not what she does, by the way.
Oh, she's gonna look amazing for one.
She's gonna get so much sugar she's gonna be diabetic by the end of the.
Well, so since since Ash will be at Comic-Con next weekend, and so that's kind of the whole point. I expect we'll see a ridiculous amount of cosplay that's going to be along those lines. And so the nice thing though is most people, when they do when they make the weapon, and so they make the chainsaw that he uses, they usually just take like a gas can and cut it open and put cardboard out the back of it to give it the look, the red body with kind of the chainsaw look. We went so far is that my friend went out and got the actual model of the chainsaw that he uses in the movie, the exact one, got an old broken one off eBay. We gutted it, took the engine, everything out of it, and then looking at stills from the images of Army of Darkness, we're then able to go in and modify it, stuck a handle inside, put a hoop around the back so she can put her hand into it and hold on to it, and move it around that way. Cut the handles all how it needed to be, and kind of added the metal piece on the top, made our own out of just aluminum bar, like flat aluminum bar. We made the bracket and the handle out of a wooden dowel that looks like a pot handle kind of at the top and everything like that. So we did this entire project to make this thing look, I think we did pretty darn good. So I'll be happy to show that. In fact, wait, I don't have a picture of it yet, but I'll bring that up hopefully next weekend after we go through and I get pictures of her in the costume. So I'm really proud of that one. But because I got it finished, and I actually got to use my 3D printer to do some of it, to do a detail piece, which is really a big part of why I have my 3D printer in the first place. But the other thing I was working on then is my own cosplay, which I invite people to go look and laugh at me doing my little live stream of trying to figure out how to sew yet again, as I'm trying to finish the tunic top for my Storm cosplay that I'm working on. And I had some success, but I don't know how. I'm going to be the normal cosplayer where Thursday morning before the convention, Thursday and Friday before the convention, I'll be finishing up details on it still, and it's going to kill me. But in going out, I did find epic things in Denver, which is I found the best fabric store, Colorado Fabrics, which is a locally owned, like, non-chain fabric store that has more than I've seen anywhere else and actually has inspired me to do more cosplay. And I saw, just down the street from them, a different costume shop than I had ever been in. And I forget the name of it off the top of my head right now. It's just like the name of somebody. Ooh, I just heard thunder outside.
Yeah, we heard it too.
Yeah, huh.
That would be from my house. Since Wayne and I are on a straight line from each other 4 miles, maybe 5 miles away from each other.
We're 4 miles just at. Yeah, that's going to be some of that afternoon Colorado weather. Woo! Yep. Rain's already going. Wind kicked up. Looking for tornadoes. And so,
it's raining at my place.
Yeah, I'm at that gap between us where I'm just getting the lightning and wind. Oh, there goes the rain,
cool,
and it's sideways.
I find that really interesting.
Awesome. So I hate when Colorado does this. It's right in the middle of me doing things, and I really want to go outside with a camera and take shots of lightning. Anyhow. Distraction.
Did you see the... Sorry to interrupt, but did you see the thing I put on Twitter the other day? It was of a chap who was
I saw that.
chasing... Yeah, it was cool, wasn't it? It was a guy who was chasing some storms with a video camera, and he put his car a little bit too close, and you see him pointing the camera at this cloud, then you just suddenly see him, like, the camera falling backwards after a bright light, and there's just like dust and sparks and,
but
matter falling into the sky. And
Yeah,
you're
no,
like,
the
what?
thing that really drove it home is that you see debris flying in the air where the strike took place, and I guess he got hit in his arm. But you see like the
Holy
camera
cow.
falls a certain way where you see like little clumps of dirt falling down, like holy, like an explosion just happened here. This guy just got blowed up.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So it's actually the guy who's videoing the storm gets hit by lightning. Go check my Twitter if you're
Holy
interested.
cow. I need to go check that out. That is
Because
crazy.
they filmed the show, they filmed the road, like he took a shot of the road where the lightning hit, and there's like these huge pock marks in the road.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, so I do have fear like that whenever I go outside in a lightning storm. And thankfully, there's houses around me and other things I hope it would seek out first. But at the same time, it's bad because I'll look around, or I always expect I'm looking one direction at the dark clouds and lightning and the wind swirling, and I don't see the other swirling wind above me, like the tornado forming or something like that.
Slowly coming down to suck you up.
Exactly. I'm always afraid I'd look back and go like, oh crap. So, but anyhow,
I think it's less likely statistically for a tornado to drop on your head than a lightning bolt to hit you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
this is probably
about a shark?
true. Yes.
A sharknado, yeah.
Yeah.
Sharknadoes, all bets are off. There are no statistics on that.
When there's a Sharknado, that's it. All is done. So yeah, I've been doing the cosplay. I've been working on that. Hopefully I'll get that finished in time, and I'm sure I'll be struggling to the end. But that's... Well, I'm sure I've been doing other things, but it's not important, obviously. Mostly it's been geeky. And so with that, let's go ahead and kick this over since I'm sure we're not going to get to the news like we normally would today, and that's okay. But we will officially start talking about some things a little more geeky. So,
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
okay, on today's Geek Cred. What have you guys been up to? Ken, lead us off.
Sure thing, my man. So in terms of geek cred, I mentioned last week that I couldn't play WoW on my computer.
Yes, and I
mentioned
thought
a
that was
couple
the
months
gods
ago.
telling you that, this is the way it should be, and you need to go on and do better things.
And I also couldn't play Battlefield 4 on my computer a few months ago. And last week I was struggling after the show last week to play Watch Dogs. It just wouldn't do it. My graphics driver just kept failing and just kept collapsing over on itself. And that's quite depressing.
What do you have
again?
again?
I'm running a GTX 580 NVIDIA. So it's a beefy enough card. I mean, you can tell. So as I learned in the past week as I did my research, the first number, the 5, it indicates how early in the series it is. So that means that it's kind of an early-ish card, not too old, couple of years. Like the latest ones are 7s and 8s, I think. But the later the
series are
number,
the main ones.
the later the second 2 digits means how powerful in that series it is.
Yes.
So a 580 is like the second highest, beefiest thing you can get from that era, pretty much. So that was a good few years ago, 3 or 4. So it's still a pretty powerful computer, still a pretty powerful graphics card, good enough to play, I thought, all the games I would want to in pretty much ultra graphics. And so far it's been fine until the past few months. I just assumed my PC was getting old. I was looking at alternatives this week, thinking about buying another graphics card for a few £100. And I thought, but it's fine. I'm looking at all these benchmarks, and it's saying my computer can run it fine. It's saying it's... I didn't know what was happening. So I researched and I looked for Windows 8 errors. I looked for World of Warcraft errors. I looked for specific game errors, and I couldn't find anything until I found one little thing saying if you have one of the 1% of graphics cards of this era that were shipped overclocked, already overclocked, they may not have enough power going to them, and you can change it with this little program. And I thought to myself, I remember seeing that it was overclocked when I bought it all those years ago now. And sure enough, so I bumped up the voltage to 1100 MV, and it's beautifully fine. Everything works no problem. It's just...
Wow, that's good work.
The unintentional aspects of overclocking. Which is actually...
I had no idea.
You mentioned that. It's kind of funny because our buddy Sir Pensor has a new computer that he built, and I think I mentioned a little bit, and it's overclocked because newer computers and newer motherboards really want to do it for you out of the box, regardless of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so, in doing so, though, he ran into some of those difficulties, and one of the things that really got him annoyed was he hit this button that allows it to do auto-optimization, and its auto-optimization required it to reboot a couple times to test like fan speeds and the capability of his cooling system and things like that. But in doing so, apparently it set to such a high overclock initially that Windows just blue screened on him. And so it wouldn't even start. And so then he had to revert it like manually, and it kept doing that a few times until he manually like reset everything to say like, oh, this is the only way you can actually get it to run again. And now he's trying desperately to not overclock it, just to run at the base settings, but he can't figure out how to do that. Every time he sets it like different in the BIOS, because it's running the new unified BIOS, the UFI type? I forget what the name of those ones are, the non-traditional BIOS ones. And so it's like the operating system takes over every time and resets the settings that he put in the BIOS. And so it keeps overclocking it, and he's just pissed. So I have to go spend some time and see if I can figure out how to force it to act like just a regular computer.
Oh man, that sucks. I don't know why they're shipping these things overclocked. Understandably, it means it's a good selling point. You say, hey, it can do slightly more than it was made for. That's pretty cool. It's like hacking, right? But then there's these problems that apparently are quite common. And so the good thing about overclocking back in the day is to know what overclocking was, you had to be pretty techie and understand these things. So if you broke it, you took the risk, and you should know how to fix it as well, or if not, be able to work it out. And that's okay. But for all these people that buy a graphics card and they just shove it in pre-overclocked, and it just breaks, they don't know what to do, and that's not fair, These guys aren't as techie.
There is a challenge there, and that's something that, that really should be a warning on the label of the box when you get in, heck, on the card itself to kind of say, hey, be aware of this. So I'm glad you got that fixed, though, because, well, yes, I'm glad so that you can play the good games you have, and we'll leave it at that.
You mean like WoW? Yeah, that's great. I do love playing WoW.
The good games you've got. I don't know.
Hey, 2 out of 4 people here like playing WoW. I'm just saying.
Okay. The raid is really doing a good bit now. I'm going to, just so for the people that are watching on video stream,
we heard that one too.
I'm going to click the video over to my camera and point this out my window real quick so people can get a sense of what it is that's going on in Colorado right now. Oh, come on, focus outside, not on the screen.
Something like that. I can see the tree moving.
It's crazy, man.
Focusing on the screen.
We'll see.
There we go.
See
now it's
like
focusing
swirls
outside.
happening outside his window, and then we'll see like a witch flying by.
When you see a cow go flying by, then you know I'm in trouble.
That's one thing that scares the hell out of me about moving to the US, because here in Scotland, there are no real natural, we don't even have any bugs that'll bite you in a bad way. You might get something that gives you a little bump, but that's about it. We have some snakes, but they're extremely rare and they're not poisonous or venomous even.
Thank you, St. Patrick.
Yes,
I'm sorry, that was Ireland.
Oh yeah, so it was. We don't even have any natural disasters in terms of volcanoes. We don't have any tornadoes. We don't have anything. We're just the safest country.
So what you're saying is no diversity.
No, we have quite a lot of diversity, but all the wolves and bears were driven out of the country when, humans started populating it more. So there's nothing really that bad here, unless you go to a zoo. So in that sense, being grown up in this environment, never having anything scary that can really harm me around me, I am pretty scared of the idea of going to the US and having these, just a little spider that if it feels like suddenly biting me, I can die.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a black widow sitting in my, in my sprinkler
Oh my god,
box.
how can you live with that?
It's a pretty big one. Last time I opened it up, I saw the big hourglass on its back, and I was like, hey, look at you! Huh. It's outside. It's still in its own place.
You know where I want to live? Near deadly things. Things that can kill me and I can't even see them.
So you say that,
It's
Ken.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because a couple years ago there were actual it happens maybe once every 70 years, but there were 2 years ago there were 4 tornadoes that went through the Boston area and 4 people died from it.
We actually had a tornado about 20 years ago in Britain, and that's extremely rare, It went through a town in England and it just decimated it because nobody expected it, didn't have any protocols for it, didn't know what to do, just came up from the sea and just engulfed the whole town. But that was a one-off, and not many people died. It was more the building damage, I think.
Yeah.
But, it can happen anywhere, but we're just quite lucky we're not on any fault lines or anything, because we have no earthquakes or anything like that. We have occasional tremors, but it's not anything you can feel. It's just I don't know, the ground selling. So anyway,
you say that, but we're just a big country. But the question I was going to have for you then, Ken, is why is it then that so many Brits like to go to Australia for vacation?
I think it's
because that's the deadliest place on Earth.
Yeah.
They got gators.
Cicadas are the
I'll
least.
There's an important piece of information. If you ever wrong Ken and need to hide from him, you have 3 entire continents
That you
on
can go
which you
to.
can hide. South America, Australia, and Africa. Because all
Yes.
of them have animal life that will kill you. So Ken's not going there.
Well, I just don't understand. I mean, like, why did humans think, you know what's a great idea? Let's settle in this place where there's stuff that can kill us. Because, you know, America was settled by mainly Europeans, and then over time Africans as well. So they must have thought, hey, let's go hang out here with those bears and those mountain lions and all these millions of other things that can kill you in different parts of the country.
Are there a lot of rattlesnakes in Spain?
Um,
Or Italy? Or Holland?
Some,
or-
I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because there's always the possibility, like, we have stuff in North America they don't have.
Oh yeah, no,
in
there are definitely different
in continental
species.
Europe.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, you don't know any better until, like, it bites you and you die.
True.
Hey,
Like, oh, he
that's
landed in the New
awesome.
World, burned all the ships, built some houses. Oh, crap.
As I get the emergency alert warning on my phone. It says
Uh-oh.
tornado warning in this
man.
area till 1:15 p.m. Mountain. Take shelter now. Check local media.
Jeez.
The National Weather Service. So
That's
since,
insane.
we are international media. We've checked
Oh,
with
there go
this.
the sirens.
Oh, are the sirens
Oh,
going?
jeez, look at that.
Yep.
I haven't heard them in my area yet. So
It
who knows?
snows sometimes.
Maybe the show will like suddenly have to go off air. Just saying.
If I suddenly buzz out, it's coming.
Yeah.
At least it'll all be recorded.
yeah, it's going out live to the interweb, so someone will see it and have proof. But with that, you guys continue on. I'm just going to take a quick peek outside
Yeah,
my
go ahead,
porch
my
to
man,
see what's
go
going,
ahead.
how bad it is.
All right. Yeah, I think that's safe. You can feel free to do the same if you want, Todd, because we can cover it. Don't worry. A natural disaster is kind of a fair enough reason to leave the show for a little bit.
Okay, I'm leaving the show for a little bit.
Okay, no problem. Good luck.
Good luck, guys.
So other
Report
than
back
that,
as soon as you can.
Yeah. Good luck, and please don't die. So other than fixing the graphics card, as such, I've been playing WoW. And I had a funny story I wanted to tell because I was telling a couple of friends about it earlier this week. I think I might have told you as well, Hando. Can't remember.
And you were playing your Warlock a lot this week, right? As you
Yeah,
were
I have
saying,
been.
or-
I've been quite enjoying playing them. I've been doing some kind of achievement whoring and stuff. It kind of satisfies me in a weird way because I can just not think about it and go do mundane things. And, like, occasionally I like to do raids and I do like to do some PvP. But the past week I've just been not wanting to do anything. I just want to hang out and not do much, and that's what I've been doing. So inside of WoW. I have been playing my Warlock, and I had a little story that I wanted to tell you about with Silithus, because I was flying through the other day, and it reminded me of back about 6 years ago. Early days of WoW, classic WoW. I was level 56 or so, and I took ages to level my first character, absolutely ages. Mainly because I just did the same sort of gameplay that Copy does, you know? I messed around a lot, I didn't actually necessarily concentrate on questing or leveling, that was a side thing to me. For me, the cool stuff was like, going over and seeing the horde cities when you're alliance, and that's total it feels so like dangerous, and it's just like fun and it's scary because you're not familiar with it, you don't know what's going on. Then all these players come out to meet you because they think, oh my god, Orgrimmar's under attack, and they come out and charge, and that's what I was concentrating on. So I took ages to level. Anyway, that's a side part of the story. I was in a guild that I created called the Vengeful because I was so edgy as a teenager.
You're a pissed off teen.
Yeah, so that was the Vengeful, that's what we were in. It was an alliance guild. I tried to avoid gnomes being in it, as everybody does. But otherwise, just a normal, playing as you go guild. Pre-achievements, pre-levels and all that, just some people hanging out. And back then, you used to do lots of things together. You used to just be more of a friendly sort of thing, less about raiding and just that or leveling, and more about just actually enjoying each other's company.
Right.
I know there's some places like that today, but I feel like that is missing nowadays. Anyway. This one guy was saying to me that he was struggling to find somewhere to level. He was level 59. You need to go to 60. And I was like, why don't you try Silithus, man? That's about that range, right? He went, I can't do that. I just can't do that anymore. I was like, you can't do Silithus. Why not? You finished already? He goes, no. I did shrooms once. Then I went to Silithus, and I had the worst trip ever. And I cannot go back there. And the
Things
guy's
not
name
to
was
do while
Leprechaun.
playing WoW.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, I would.
Imagine how crazy that would be. Like,
oh no, I can't. I mean, the insects and the bugs and the.
yeah, it's just all these like pillars of bugs. Oh, it would just like destroy your mind. Oh, so I can see exactly why I didn't want to go there and end up helping them through Stratholme and Lights over and over. But that was the little story I wanted to tell. I thought it was good.
I can't do it, man. Can't go back there, man.
Yeah, it was like wartime, like what's it called? Post traumatic syndrome or something.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, PTSD, but from WoW.
Yeah, exactly. So
hey, I'm gonna take some shrooms and play some freaking like what would be like, you know, the craziest thing, like Thomas Was Alone, or you know, like some kind of crazy thing like that.
There are worse ones, but still, this is pretty bad though.
Yeah.
In fact, even just Wrath of the Lich King and seeing all these undead everywhere, or imagine playing a horror one like Amnesia. Oh my god, if that freaks me out enough as it does already, imagine I was on shrooms.
That is a guaranteed 100% way of you will drive yourself insane and you will never come back.
Along with the lawn lights, that's one reason why I would never, ever, ever do shrooms, because that sort of shit scares the crap out of me. And I just cannot... I would go in with a bad mindset, and so I can't do it for that reason, because I get too scared of the possibilities.
You could go into the elf starting area in WoW, and I'm gonna do shrooms. This is gonna be great, and all of a sudden the trees start like trying to eat your face off, and you don't know what's gonna happen with that. Yeah. You know, it's just, I'll be in this nice, beautiful elf starting area. Whoa!
Yeah, you end up running around naked asking for gold. Oh wait, that's
Wow, I didn't know WoW was just like Vegas.
I actually did whore myself out this week. I joined a Random Alliance guild because I made a new hunter in my human.
Oh god!
Because I know, right? Alliance. I'm struggling to do it. Even just the character models are disgusting me, and the fact that I have to deal with. There are 3 races that I hate.
Ken, don't you feel good? You're all pretty now and shiny.
There are 3 races that I hate in the Alliance, and I'm allowed to be racist in this game. Gnomes, of course. Who doesn't hate gnomes? I hate the friggin' Worgen. They are just furries, you know? It'd be fair enough if you were a cool werewolf, but you weren't wearing clothes. But the fact that you're wearing clothes makes it so creepy. I just can't. I can't deal with that. That's just so weird.
I never thought about that.
It just looks weird. It looks off. Like clearly you shouldn't be wearing clothes if you're covered in fur. You know? Weird. And thirdly, you know, pandas. They suck. So they're on the horde as well. But that's why I hate the Alliance. There's so many races I hate. So it's humans and dwarfs and night elves, I guess. They're okay. And that's it. So I've been doing some stuff on my hunter, which is also weird, by the way. I'm doing a human hunter. That never used to be a thing. That's new to me, and that's also strange. And the mindset of the Alliance is completely different than the Horde, at least on the realm I'm on. It might be different elsewhere.
No, it always has been. Kids versus adults is usually the back in the day case.
What it is. In the Horde, you're like, I'm going to queue up for a dungeon or a raid. Okay, here you go. People might have some banter, they'll have them back and forth, making fun of each other, and that'll be it. It's all good fun. In the Alliance, people are shouting in caps, and they're trying to spam you guild invites called, like, I don't know, stupid stuff like LOL's Warriors, or the Alliance Hackers, and they all think they're so edgy and cool, and they're just,
come join my guild, Luigi Death Stare.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, go away. Nice reference to pop culture. It's just like, oh, why? Just don't touch me. And so I ended up turning off chat in the Alliance. I just can't stand it. And I thought the one thing I could handle was doing some PvP, because at least I'll see the Horde, but now I feel like I'm betraying them. Like, I won a game of Warsong Gulch the other day. I scored the flag 3 times because all the friggin' Alliance couldn't concentrate on anything but killing things randomly. And I just felt like I was totally betraying them because I did a win for the Alliance of all people, so I had to go back to my Horde character. I've given up. I can't do it.
Where is your empathy? Don't you remember what it was like when you were 12?
Yeah, but I just hung out with friends. I didn't charge around and do and annoy people.
Where's your empathy? Don't you remember what it was like when you were a catastrophic douchebag? Wait.
You say were as in past tense. Wait.
Yes. So yeah, I've been playing WoW. I've been enjoying that. I'm actually trying to beat Copy just now because she jumped on her starter account on the EU side, and we played a little bit on our Night Elves together. And it was good fun trying out druids and seeing what they're like now. You can actually transform into like cat form by level 6, which is so weird. Same with like hunters. You have a pet from level 1. That's just strange to me. I don't know if I like it. I think I might because it makes it a bit more fun, gives you a better idea of what the class is like, which is good. But it kind of takes away the mystery and the fun of leveling, in my opinion, as well. So I think it's a mix between the two. So yeah, I mean, I tried that out, and that was good fun. But then I decided to show some of my pets. I was like, look, I've been doing a little bit of pet battling here and there. My Pokemon.
Oh God.
I've been trying to collect them all. And look, here's some rare ones I've got. And she went, oh cool, I've got like 5,000 or something. And I was like, you're kidding me. I have
She put you in your place. I see.
And I was impressed by that.
Now we see what Copy's talent is, and now we see what exactly she's been doing all this time. And wow, she's a badass pet battler.
Well, I'm now up to 228. And I've been going around doing archaeology and taking up some pets for the past couple of days. So I'm slowly catching up. The copy doesn't have any max level characters, so I don't think she has much gold available. So the rarer things that I can't get, I've just been buying off the auction house. So I'm going to beat you, copy. I'm going to beat you.
Good luck, Ken. Good luck.
The challenge is thrown down.
So other than WoW, as I'm sure you're glad for me to get away from, I've been playing a little bit of Hearthstone here and there, just playing a little bit here and there.
So the WoW table game, yes.
I had a 7-game win streak this week on my rogue, so I went up like 3 or 4 ranks at once, which is cool, because if you have 3 wins in a row, you get an extra star, and you need 3 stars to level up kind of thing. But if you win 3 and then you win your 4th, you get another bonus star because there's still the past 3 games that you've done well. I thought it was just like 3, then another 3, but no, it's like always the last 3, quite literally. So I got like a good like 4 or 5 levels this week just playing like 6 games. It only took like half an hour. Quite happy with that. Got a bunch of experience and that. It was good. So enjoying that. And finally, the one I really wanted to talk about actually is I've been playing The Forest.
Oh yeah, you were talking about wanting to get The Forest last week, and it's funny because right afterwards, several of us went on Steam and was like, "You mean this game that just came out called The Forest?"
Yeah. So I looked into it and I got hold of it, and also by the way, this is another horrible game to do shrooms on. Oh my god, this would destroy you.
From experience,
you'd end up like in an actual forest running from naked people, or at least you'd think you were. The idea, the premise of the game is it's a horror game based on you're in this plane, you start the game up, you're in this plane, beautiful graphics by the way, it's stunning, which is surprising for an indie game, and you look outside the window and it's just fine, then suddenly you hear a the alarm starts going off and everybody starts panicking, there's this kid next to you, and then everything blacks out as you see the plane hit the ground. And you're like, okay, cool, this is the premise, this is what I was kind of expecting, no problem, okay. Then you wake up and you look around, you have free control of the camera. At first you're looking at the floor. Now the first time I played the game, I didn't notice the main story element because I was too busy looking at the seats for some reason. I don't know why. You kind of expect, I think game developers always expect people where to look. Like they sort of say, hey, this is the obvious place to look, down the lane here. Huh? A little bit obvious where you're supposed to go. But for some reason I was like, I wonder if there's any collectible items nearby that I can collect to make my gameplay more I don't know. And so I didn't see it, and I missed it the first time. Then I later on died and went back, and I saw this dude basically naked, standing there holding this kid, and there's like blood everywhere, and everybody else in the plane's dead. You can tell it wasn't all from the crash. You can tell some of them been killed by this guy or these people, and the kid disappears, and you're stuck. All you have is the stuff that's left in the plane. Some of it's like an axe for, I don't know, opening a window in emergency. You have some food, you have some drink, and you are in the middle of a big forest, obviously, you may have guessed. And a survival guide. The survival guide allows you to put down plans for certain things, be it a fireplace or a little hut. And by a little hut, I mean like a little tiny little tent with some wooden logs maybe, or even as far as genuinely a large wooden hut. So I thought, it's recommending I make a little tent. But you know what, if this is a creepy, scary as hell place, and it's currently dawn, if this is like Minecraft, I want to have a proper freaking house, man. I don't want those zombies to come near me. So I decided to make a big-ass log cabin. Because I thought, aha, they won't get in there, at least not easily, and I'll just defend the door with my axe, it'll be no problem.
No zombies, just smoke monsters.
Yeah, no problem. So it turns out that it takes a little bit of time to make a big log hut. You can't just do it in a couple of hours. Including chopping down all the trees, collecting all the twigs, all these different materials you need, and leaves and stuff. No. So by nighttime, I was like less than a third, like a quarter of the way in, and it got really dark. And then I noticed eyes in the forest. And with the hyper amazing graphics in this game, you get pulled into the realism. And the fact that it's actually dark, not like crappy gameplay dark, where like you can see, but it's just kind of grey and fuzzy, where it's not really realistic. This was like black. You could not see. And you can, maybe the starlight will help you a little bit, but there's shadows as well. And in the forest, you see these eyes, and you see these things moving. And there's like animals moving around as well. So you're not sure if it's like these creepy zombie men, or if it's actually just like a freaking little animal or something. Which is pretty good, because you hear a noise in the forest behind you, and you're just like, oh man, they're coming here, they're here, I can't see them, what's going on? And it's like a little lizard or something, and it's no problem. And then you turn around and see this like woman holding an axe with like blood dripping down her running towards you. And it's so creepy and unexpected. And sometimes, like, so I don't know about you guys, but I have a defense tactic, well, two defense tactics when I play scary games. I either try to make jokes if I'm playing with multiple people. I'm just like, haha, imagine that would happen, that'd be funny, haha. And I just try to make it more lighthearted. You'll notice I do that if I ever stream live. I always try to make jokes to myself. It's like a weird self-defense mechanism. The second thing I do is I charge straight towards the bad guys and the scary things.
Oh,
with
nice.
An axe held up high, shouting, freedom! Because
the Scottish reflex.
I will scare you.
That was great, kid.
Turns out, even in Amnesia I did this, also not a good tactic there.
Oh god, not in Amnesia.
It is a terrible tactic in this game as well. When I was playing Amnesia, you like turn around a corner and you see this like fleshy zombie going around the next corner. I just like ran full blast after him. But the thing is, while I'm doing it, I know how scary this is, and I start shivering, and my skin like all freezes up, and the exact same thing happened in the forest. I saw the bad guys in the forest. I didn't know if they'd come towards me or not, but I freaking charged them. I'm like, you ain't having a chance, boy. You're going down. And I charged in, and they just like fell out the trees around me and minced me to pieces. And then I woke up in a cave. And this place is dark, and there's bodies hanging around, and it's even creepier than before. I'm like, oh man, oh man, oh no, oh no. And it was like all cramped, and you're like claustrophobic, and you can't see if there's bad guys, there's just bodies, and you're ah!
And for some reason you were hanging upside down and your lightsaber was just out of your reach.
And so that's been my experience with the game. I managed to get out of the cave, but then it was nighttime again, and I was like, I can't deal with this. I cannot deal with this. I'll come back to this later. So, really fun. Really enjoyed it. I don't know how much there is to the game. I noticed when I died the second time, it said, you survived 3 days. So I assume that it's kind of like Slender, where you just eventually die. You know? You will eventually die. So I don't know what happens. I don't know if you eventually get saved if you get to the end or what, so I'm going to leave that a mystery for you and for me. I would recommend it if you are into scary games. It's certainly worth the price, because, oh man, I think if you can get pulled into a game like that, it's so worth it. Turn off all the lights, put the headphones on, and just get pulled in. Oh, beautiful.
So you're telling us that you're going to be streaming it next time you play?
I shall. I'll do just that. I think it deserves it.
Yeah, I think that needs to happen.
I'll do camera as well, so you can see me like, charge!
That would be wonderful.
As I try to be confident, but you see the fear in my eyes. So that's been my week in Geek Cred. Sorry for taking up so much time again, but I've been up to a few things.
That's awesome.
So let's go back in the same route. Hando, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I mean, like I said, I went and purchased myself some Wildstar this week. Officially, they had like a head start thing that happened earlier last week. I think like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. And so I was in the beta for a little while, and I'm playing my tune, and learning how to do what is essentially a rogue. It's basically like you're almost like a combination of a Wolverine rogue type thing. You have stealth, and then you have these big claws that come out of your hand, and you slice people up. It's a melee character. So I was playing that for a while, and I thought because I had given them all my information, or at least I thought I did. So then the official launch goes by, and I go and I'm like, okay, let's download this thing, get it all updated and get in there. And so I go and try and go in the day of the launch, and I'm not getting in, and I'm just like, so I send, I have an account and everything. I send them an email, I'm like, guys, I'm not getting in, and they keep telling everyone, well, we know that some players are having problems bouncing between the EU realms and the North American realms. And this is exactly what was happening to me. And I'm watching all the Twitch events, and I'm watching everything that they're reporting on, and they keep coming back like, yeah, we're working on it, we're working on it, we're working on it. So the whole time, because they were doing that, they were doing this whole like really, we're trying to communicate with our customers, and we're trying to make sure the launch goes well. And I guess for the most part, it did go well. But for days, I was just sitting there like, yeah, dude, can't get on. Okay, I'll update my ticket. Can't get on, can't get on. And so finally, I think it was like Tuesday when they actually had the real launch go on. I'm like, I actually started to get a little flustered, and I sent him an email. I'm like, guys, I still can't get on. I'm getting very discouraged. I think that's exactly what I typed. And I was just like, please advise, or something like that, and sent the ticket off. So they sent me back an email, and this is Tales of Noobishness right here. And I'll embellish what the email said. It kind of said something like this. It said, hey, noob, why don't you activate your account, and then maybe you can play. So I did that, and I got in, and so I've been playing. And yeah, so it's really good. I mean, there's so much eye candy involved in it. It's really super polished, and it's got like a very cartoony kind of art style. Ken said he didn't like it because he thought it was a little too much anime, but I think it reminds me a little bit more of it's like Looney Tunes sort of. Like American cartoon, afternoon cartoons on Fox, back in the day, that sort of thing, like Animaniacs or something like that. I don't know. I'm not even sure if that's accurate. But another tale of noobishness was I'm busy running around. There's just so much eye candy around you at all times. You get easily distracted, and you're just and the quests are they're just grindy. It just takes a long time to get anywhere. You don't have any kind of transportation. You're starting off level 0 on a MMO. But I noticed that I get to this area, and Copy would love this area because it's all this green grass and these glowing gazelle type creatures running around, and I noticed that there's this set of waterfalls up over up at the I'm at a town right now, so it's like the official where you get your first mailbox, and you get to meet the innkeeper, and you get to save your game, and here's the taxi, and I'm like, this waterfall is so great, I want to go to the top of it. So I'm busy just spending I must have spent about an hour and 15 minutes just trying to navigate around this waterfall. And I finally open up the map proper, I hit M, and I'm like, the waterfall's the edge of the map. There is no other side of the waterfall. There's no top of the waterfall. So there's the second tale of noobishness right there. But otherwise, I mean, there's this whole quest thing that I discovered that Copy would love. It's I guess they were trying to kind of harken back to Mario Brothers games, but you're in the sort of delta of this waterfall or whatever, the basin, and there's these giant orange mushrooms, and if you walk by and you make contact with this little cluster of these golden butterfly things, all of a sudden this thing comes up and it goes, challenge accepted, or challenge begins, and it's catch all these 10 butterfly clusters as they're flying around, and I'm like, well, how do you do that? And then of course you accidentally step on one of the mushrooms and it sends you flying up in the air, and it's just a total fantasy world goofball thing to do. Aside from of course you can go PvP, you can go Battleground, and you can do all that stuff. You can go and fight psychopathic little bunny rabbit things that are busy burning down the forest. But I was just look at this. This is so tailored to people that are they're not rushing for endgame and all right, let's raid, let's get this done. So it's been good. It's been a good. I'm liking it. I'm liking I really appreciate the community team for Wildstar. Those guys are they really put a lot of work into really making sure they make contact with their customers, and they make funny Vine videos all the time, and they're always on Twitch. So yeah, it's been good, and that's basically been my week. Aside from, I started getting into. I finally realized that I'm not smarter than the entire internet, and I started to do some net decking with Hearthstone, trying to get a priest and a pally going. And I even after all this time of just playing, randomly, just weird decks that I just make on my own, I still don't have enough dust to craft a proper low budget control deck for the priest. So I'm still working on that. So yeah, that's been going slow, but slow and steady. I'm ranked 21, I think, a 2-star 21 right now in ranked games. So yeah, that's basically been my week right there.
Nice. Well, it's funny because I still don't have comments on Wildstar yet, other than shiny or wow, but we shall see and hear more as it goes on. So
I mean, I want to get into it just for the media event. You know, I mean, I want to. Yeah, just to 9 months from now, I'll probably make a final decision about it. But I'm gonna hang up my my other accounts and just focus on this for a while and just see what happens with it.
Very good. So Octale, what have you been doing that is strictly geek in the last week or so?
I listened to an audiobook, which I guess you would call the last of the non-existent canon, called Star Wars Crucible.
Oh, okay.
And it happens after the end of the Fate of the Jedi series, in which Luke Skywalker sends 10 Jedi Knights out into the universe to find the Mortis Monolith. Which, if you've watched Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series, in the middle of Season 3 they do a 3-episode story arc about the Mortis Monolith. So you can find out all about it by watching 3 20-minute episodes of Star Wars Clone Wars, or you can listen to 9 audiobooks in the Fate of the Jedi series, and you can find out all about it there. In any event, so good book, lots of Han Solo getting tortured, so that was fun.
Again?
Yeah, again, for like
He's
the
good for that.
11 billionth time.
Did they ask him any questions?
Yes. lots of bad questions. So different from Cloud City that way, but I mean it's all the usual suspects doing the usual suspect things. It's Luke and Leia and Lando Calrissian and Han Solo and Ben Skywalker and Tahiri Vela, and so it was good. But it got me curious as to what the first books of the new Lucasfilm Story Group unified storytelling canon stuff is going to be. So I found the first 4. And the first one is called Star Wars: A New Dawn, being written by John Jackson Miller, which is going to be set prior to the forthcoming animated Star Wars Rebels series, and is supposed to be about how the 2 main characters came to meet each other. So, yay. That's coming September 2nd of this year. The next book was really interesting to me because it's a biographic, and that one's called Star Wars Tarkin. It's written by James Luceno, who wrote the Plagueis biographic.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I've read about Plagueis actually.
Yeah. So the same person who wrote the Darth Plagueis book is writing the Tarkin biographic. Now, from my perspective, if they get Daniel Davis to narrate it again, who's the same person that narrated the Plagueis biographic, they would really be onto something. Because if you take the light side and dark side and sort of separate them, and let Mark Thompson, who's narrated all the Star Wars audiobooks for eons, with the exception of just a very few, and the Plagueis book was one of them, if you let Mark Thompson narrate all the light side books that they're going to do, great. Let Daniel Davis narrate all the dark side or Empire biographics and stuff that they're going to do, even better, because it'll give the 2 sets of books a totally distinct feel between the 2. So the bad guys will have this sort of darker timbre, more serious in tone sort of feel to them, and the light side books will be much lighter in terms of timbre and tone and all that stuff. And you still get all the great stuff that comes with Star Wars audiobooks. So you get the music and the sounds. So when Mark Thompson says, and then they open fire with their blasters, like usually you get blaster fire sound effects.
Oh, good.
In the background of the audiobook.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't heard one like that.
No.
Neat piece of ambiance. And they'll talk about, as somebody's narrating a lightsaber fight, you'll hear lightsaber noises.
Oh, that's good, because that's so iconic that'll really pull you in, I think.
Oh, totally. Totally. So I'm really looking forward to the Tarkin biographic, just based on who's writing it. But, you know, if it comes out on audiobook and it's done by Daniel Davis, it'll be like, these guys didn't know what they're doing, and they're pretty smart, and credit where it's due. So, but I'm also worried because there are things that would come along with a biographic of Tarkin that I know that's from the expanded universe that doesn't exist anymore. So I'm a little scared, but we'll see. The third book is called Star Wars Heir to the Jedi. This is Luke Skywalker's first-hand account of what happens between the end of A New Hope, meaning the Battle of Yavin, and the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back, so how they get from Yavin to Hoth. So that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so that should be a good story to fill in.
Yeah. And then the last one's called, that one comes out in January 2015, and then the last one is called Star Wars Lords of the Sith. And that's a story about Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader stranded together on an inhospitable planet, whatever that means. So I guess that's going to be... I can see where it could be akin to the parts of Darth Plagueis where Plagueis is training Palpatine to be a Sith, where Palpatine would be doing the same kinds of things to Vader, because that wasn't explored in... Revenge of the Sith at all? Are you doing the Team America secret signal?
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what we're doing.
I talk with my hands. There
was waving in the video wall for the little one that Roxy is showing off.
Oh, he's
so
cute.
We're all waving back, and she's and then the little baby is looking on with eager happiness. Curiosity.
Okay. Now I get it. I wasn't sure if we were doing a long
did you just see me in Skype just waving randomly?
No, I just saw you waving, and I'm like, do you want to talk? Am I, like, monologuing to him?
No, don't say that! Don't say that!
Or is that, like, the cut him off?
Spoiler alert!
But no, that was just reacting to a baby. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that was the squirrel moment.
Okay. Yeah. So, talked about Breaking Bad, talked about Binding of Isaac, talked about Watch Dogs. That might be it for the Geek Cred. Like I said, I'm just very worried about the Disney people disavowing all of the original expanded universes canon.
Oh yes.
Like that.
Oh yes.
That is very. I can't understate that enough. How scared I am of just taking all of those stories that are good stories that may or may not adapt all that well to film. I'm very worried about them taking all of that, throwing it in the trash can, and go, nope, we're starting over with a committee to do storytelling. Like, okay, that's fine. How about you never say the word midichlorians again?
Well, they didn't after episode 1, right? So.
Well, I mean, so James Luceno did, I thought, was a very admirable job of taking all of the things that were said in the prequel movies and making them better. So I don't know.
So here's the thing.
I'm very skeptical.
No, the movies coming out are going to be great, because by all the things I've been hearing and all the stuff that Disney's been doing, and the fact that Lucas is still involved, although he's no longer, it's not LucasArts doing it, although it's still him that owns that share. It's going to be wonderful, because my expectations for the new movies are so low that as long as they get everybody's name right, it'll probably meet what I expect is going to happen in these. I mean...
Really? See, I've gone the absolute opposite way with that. Like, I'm so invested in this universe now that I want to know how J.J. Abrams is going to tell the story of what happened 30 years after the Battle of Yavin. And I have expectations because I know what happened up until a month ago canonically in the universe. Like, as soon as they said Star Wars Episode 7 is going to be set 30 years after the Battle of Endor, I went, oh, that's Second Galactic Civil War. Which means we're going to see the Solo kids and the Skywalker kids, and Mara Jade's going to die. Like, I know what happened. Now I don't know, but I have an idea of what should happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the 3 movies are going to be the tale of a young Jedi being tempted by the dark side, and eventually he's going to die. But, I mean, if I told you that a male Force user was going to be, that's also the son of Han Solo, is going to be tempted by the dark side, isn't that just Jason Solo? And to me it is. So how do I divorce myself from this world that I already know exists and is awesome?
They're trying to get a new audience, and they're actually calling him Jason Derulo.
Jason Triple O. Jacob Triple O. We'll call him Jacob Triple O.
Yeah.
And he'll be the only son of Han and Leia Solo, and that'll make it totally different.
Because then he truly will
Here's
be Solo.
Here's what I know is going to happen in the new movie. Okay, it's going to start off, Chewie and 3PO are playing space chess. And then 3PO makes a move, and then Chewie rips his arm off and beats him to death with it.
Of only.
That I would watch.
We know that there's a Millennium Falcon, and we know that there's space chess.
It'll be much better if they killed Jar Jar. I think we all can agree with.
But you have to realize Jar Jar is now protected commodity. That is, Lucas's stand-all to say, screw you, these are mine.
That's right. The movies are all sacrosanct canon. So yeah, he's good. He's safe.
He is the most pivotal character in all of the movies because he's the one who gives.
Right.
He's the one who gives permission for everything to go.
It's all his fault.
It's all his fault.
He causes it all. And what a brilliant way to take the most reviled character in your universe and make them so they're absolutely necessary in the context of the story.
Yeah. Yep. Oh,
like
Lucas.
It won't be that Palpatine manipulated Amidala into giving Palpatine emergency powers because the blockade of Naboo has lasted for 10 years.
Yes.
No.
Put Jar Jar in charge.
No. We'll manipulate events so that Amidala runs home to Naboo to hide and puts a bumpkin in charge of making decisions for the Senate. And Jethro the Bumpkin can give Palpatine...
Jethro!
Oh, it's been some time.
Jethro the Bumpkin can give Palpatine emergency powers.
Yep, that's what happened. And I have to bring that up because if you guys haven't gone out and seen it, I know it's been on Netflix and hopefully it's still there. You need to go watch the documentary The People versus George Lucas because it brings up everything I'd ever heard and seen myself in the new movies and the things that he had done, both with the lack of Blu-ray movies that were unmolested and things like that for the special editions and things. It goes into all of it. It goes into the character stuff with even more detail than I've seen, to the points where they go conspiracy theory towards how George Lucas is purposefully doing things, showing how in scenes of the movie for no reason Jar Jar turns and looks breaks the third wall type thing and looks directly at the camera. Oh, the fourth wall.
Okay, well, what are the conspiracy theories?
That almost
he's
gives
actually psychic?
Well, no, and he almost gives a smirk, this little
He's a giant
shit-eating grin that says, "Look, I'm still here. Screw you all."
Yep.
Yep. It is a great thing to watch because you'll walk away from that with another appreciation for what's happened to the series.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to talk about one more thing. I gotta go off of Star Wars. This is we are, going warp speed shifting. How awesome is the WWE Network? Don't do that, boys!
Damn it, Roxy!
Stop it!
That's alright, I should have had
Everybody
my
blame
laptop
Roxy.
muted, but...
Roxy! How great is the WWE Network?
What has it done
what is
recently?
this-
Because
what is
I
this
have
you
not
speak
seen
of?
it.
Oh, well. So, the WWE, also known as the WWF, back in days past,
Before Wildlife took over.
created a streaming service that's available over the internet. So it's available on your computer, it's available on your iPad, it's available on your Xbox, it's available on your PlayStation.
And how much does it cost per
available
month?
pretty much everywhere. $10.
Wow, that's good.
With an asterisk, you do have to sign up for a 6-month commitment. So it's really $60, but it's $60 for 6 months of content.
£120 a year, that's £70. Not bad at all.
So here's the big question about this, because other services exist out there, which is the question I'll throw to you, and I'm sure you'll answer it right off, is do you have to have a cable service or anything else that you're signed up for them to be able to do this?
Nope. If anything, Xbox Live, which I was already signed up for Xbox Live for Netflix and Hulu anyway.
Which is no longer needed because Microsoft just changed that with the agreement. You no longer need Live Gold for the you have to sign up, but you no longer need Gold in order to watch Netflix.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, that's just a PSA for everyone.
Right. I don't know if you need Gold for WWE Network or not. I suspect not. But in any event, so we'll just start in terms of value. You get all the pay-per-views live.
That's impressive already.
As part of the subscription?
Yeah. So I watched WrestleMania 30 live on my 52-inch TV in my living room. I watched Extreme Rules live on my 52-inch TV in my living room. I watched Payback live on my 52-inch TV.
That's brilliant.
So those were $45 or more a pop. So you're already getting value. Now WWE owns the entire library for WCW and ECW. So if you want to watch
past events,
what's that?
The historic events, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to watch the very first ECW pay-per-view from 1996, you can, on demand. If you want to watch Ric Flair win his second World's Heavyweight Championship in 1983 against Harley Race in the cage, you can, on demand. So there's hundreds of hours of, back content there. The old WCW Nitros from Monday night and Monday Night Raw from the mid-90s, the Monday Night War, the sort of golden age of pro wrestling in the 90s. Those are all going to go up. They're not up yet, but for example, in the last couple of months, they put up the Clash of the Champions, which used to be on Superstation TBS here in the States. Available for free, but they were pay-per-view quality, like events. So there's a lot there. The last thing I had to talk about, and this is what made me think of it. WWE has a developmental territory in Florida called NXT. And NXT is now available live streaming on the network. And now that WWE has 168 hours of content that they can produce every week to give live on the network, NXT is now doing pay-per-views or free previews. So the only reason why I bring this up is because sons and children of wrestlers that I knew when I was growing up are now breaking into the business.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this up until a couple of weeks ago, but Bray Wyatt is Mike Rotunda's kid, I think. Mike Rotunda is a guy that was in the WWF in the early 80s. He was Erwin R. Shyster. He was VK Wall Street.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah, see, his kids are now breaking into the industry.
Oh, that's funny.
And Charlotte Flair, one of Ric Flair's daughters, just won the NXT Women's Championship. And she's doing a thing where she's basically, originally she didn't want to be known as like the son of a,
Oh, of course, yeah.
two-time Hall of Famer or daughter of a two-time Hall of Famer or whatever.
You want to make your own success, of course, yeah.
In the title match, she embraced it. So
Oh.
she did the woos, and she's chopping people.
Ha,
and she
ha,
put the-
ha.
and she put the figure 4 on, and so she has embraced being a second-generation wrestler from the Flair family of all families. So
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, getting all of this stuff for $10 a month, pretty good value. I have
So-
to say, pretty good value.
How much is a general pay-per-view? Just anything at random, just one of them.
They used to be like $40.
Ooh, okay, so
on
already...
average.
Yeah, it's already a month of the subscription, or 4 months of subscription. Basically.
Yeah, so if there's 3 in that time, you're already way up, okay.
Right. Well, there'll be 6 main roster pay-per-views between February, when I signed up for it, and August, when my 6-month commitment will run out. Right. I'll have seen WrestleMania, Extreme Rules, Payback, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, and maybe it's only 5 or 6. Either way,
Yeah, it's price of entry right there.
Yeah, definitely.
many times over.
And the
And
fact
of
that it's
course-
multi-device is quite impressive as well. I mean,
Well, so
a lot of
that's
these things...
that's the
back
thing
in
I
day,
wanted
all
to
these
bring
things
up
were just
about
a
this.
single, network.
Because what they're talking about essentially is because there's other companies have done things like this, like HBO and stuff. But that's why I asked about the Xbox piece, because or the cable company or something like that. Because what they've done is they are not willing to break the hold that our cable companies currently have on broadcasting out media. And so big organizations like HBO still do it, where you have to have a subscription to HBO on one of these services, either a satellite or cable provider, and then you can get access to their streaming apps. Where
Yep.
this is the first
Yes.
company I've heard of that really is embracing, like, oh no, the internet is a thing and is its own presence, that we don't have to even look at these other companies.
Yeah, ESPN does something similar. Like, if you want all of the ESPN content, you have to have a subscription to ESPN already.
Yeah.
Like, through a cable company. So I'm very glad that WWE has done it this way, because I can just watch all their stuff. Now, there are a couple of things, like I can't watch new Raw and SmackDown on the network. Like, I still have to go through Hulu if I want to get those.
Huh.
Because
okay.
I mean, they still have TV deals with USA and
Gotcha, yeah, so there's still ones.
Sci-Fi.
But does it show up at some point, or just, like in a lot of cases there's delays, or it's just that new media is not on there, this is all back catalog and other events?
I don't think the new stuff is on there yet, but I know that the TV deal with USA and Sci-Fi is going to be up in the next 6 months to a year.
Okay.
So that may change.
That'll be really interesting to see. But like I said, as much as I personally don't, partake in wrestling events or anything like that, I haven't watched it for years, I really do appreciate what they're doing for essentially the consumer. And this is, in a way, I'm sure they're doing it from their own market perspective because it earns them the cash. Because think about that, how directly they're getting the money for it. But
Sure.
that absolutely is a neat thing to see, because this is pushing it now for other providers, other people that make media, to consider that you can maybe survive without all of the current cable companies and DirecTVs and stuff like that in the world, who are basically evil.
This would be the first step towards the dream, right? Where you could sit back and go, okay, I don't need this stupid cable box unless I want my local television, my television networks, and I live outside of broadcast reception range. But I want my ESPN, I want TNT, TBS, I want WWE, and I want maybe one of the premium movie channels like HBO. And
Yep.
those are the only channels I want, and I'll pay $60 to get their entire catalog for as long as, $60 a month of that for their entire catalog for as long as I have that subscription, instead of paying $100 a month for 140 channels I couldn't give a damn about and the 5 that I want.
That's what we've been talking about forever, the a la carte. But now this also...
That's the dream.
It brings up an issue, though, and unfortunately, I don't know if we'll have time to really go into it, but it's the idea, though, that just like what we've seen with Netflix and all the ISPs out there, are we going to see similar things start happening to any of these a la carte situations where they're going to have to get on the internet fast lane?
Well, yeah, right.
Yep.
Well, so it already happened. It already happened a little bit with WWE, in as much as DirecTV and Dish Network refused to carry their pay-per-view.
Ooh.
Like, you can still order the pay-per-view via traditional cable channels.
Yeah,
they just opened a new route with the network for people
because this
who
is huge
just
for
want to
all
stream
the
it over the internet.
Well, because you still get like pay-per-view events. They're still a primary draw for things like bars and restaurants and things like that to be able to draw an audience.
It's really worth it.
Yes. I mean, go to a Buffalo Wild Wings here in the city on a UFC fight night. The places are packed.
So I'll be curious to see how that goes further. But I kind of leaned into that in a way just because the more you were talking about them going straight streaming, it just keeps going to all of these articles I've been gathering that are very specifically talking about net neutrality and the current state of things in our country, and how desperately our ISPs are trying to make it so that they can control and charge for every bit of information double, and basically charge as much as they want without giving people in our the access that they really should be. And so hearing you talk about this, I could see, because you get in any network out there that's going a la carte and starting to get bigger, you're going to have these guys, because we're basically taking away from their traditional earning model. And instead of adapting and realizing you can just provide better services and charge appropriately and probably make more money, but old curmudgeons are so scared of that they won't even bother. Instead, they try to figure out how to basically market out everybody else. That I could see it happening more. In fact, one of the ones I wanted to bring up, where is that one? That was a big one. Actually, is one of the interesting ones is people talking about on Netflix how you were talking about House of Cards being one of the big ones. Well, it just came up recently because they did their premiere of, Orange is the New Black?
Yeah.
Which is the big one that came up. And this article that came up about that was basically referencing, hey, this is happening right now, how's this going to affect it? It says Netflix and Verizon have a dispute that goes public amid Orange is the New Black debut. And specifically the article goes and says that as Netflix debuts this hotly anticipated second season of Orange is the New Black, the site's dispute with Verizon Communications over streaming speeds is getting more heated. Verizon, the fourth largest internet service provider in the U.S., has sent a, quote, cease and desist letter to Netflix telling the streaming giant to stop blaming it for slow speeds. On Tuesday, Netflix customer and Vox Media designer Yuri Victor tweeted a screenshot of his Netflix player, which showed the message, quote, the Verizon network is crowded right now. Adjusting video for smoother playback. Other users have reportedly seen the same message, while some AT&T customers have seen the similar message. In the latest of the technical variables sparring between Netflix and the U.S. internet service providers like Verizon, Netflix streaming, goes forth. And basically, they did a whole thing about like the fastest internet connections out there and all these things, because they say that in Canada, by default, Canada is faster than the average in the United States.
Really?
Across the board. Yeah, they said there's only one company in Canada that's kind of poorly done, which I think might be the one that copies on. Yeah.
Everyone was racing to that joke.
Well, no, it's funny because when I read it, I forget where it's at, but it talked about the name. I was like, isn't that... Wait, I'm pretty sure. So I think it is. But they go on further because they even ranked when it goes to like Verizon's Fios customers specifically. And they said that, as measured by Netflix, that those customers are below the average speeds for that all the customers received all last year. Let's see. But anyhow, they talk about how they've had to pay for these things, and essentially Netflix, their opinion is that you're having to pay twice for getting access to service. Pay once for the ISPs to even give you access, and then twice because it's coming out of your fee that you're paying for Netflix that they have to pay back to these ISPs in order for you to get your content. Which when you look at it that way, I absolutely agree with. Although I agree with it anyways, because ISPs should shut up and just give me my internet and don't even bother looking at what I'm doing with it.
Shut up. Yeah,
That's
totally.
just
I think
me.
we're all on the same page there.
So I want to go further into it, but I don't think we can give it due because I have like 6 or 7 articles about net neutrality right now. Although I do want to point people to, I posted it, I want to say I put it on ShowX's page on Facebook, but there is a link to a rant and rave done by, I want to say he's either a, not just a late night show host because he was cursing a bit, might be an internet host, someone I hadn't seen before, but he has a really good discussion about net neutrality and the whole points of it, and it's like 13 minutes of him just ranting about it that are quite epic. So I invite people to go check that link out, and I'll see if I can find it and throw it into the show notes as well.
Net neutrality is getting to the point where normal people who aren't techies and geeks are starting to hear about it. My wife actually said to me last week, "Hey, have you heard about this net neutrality thing? What's that? What's the deal with that? That's bad, right?" And I was like, For the consumer, yes. For the general, for some of the companies, it's amazing. For some of the companies, it's terrible. That's the basics of it. But it goes on a lot deeper than that.
Yes, in general,
it
it
is far-reaching.
The key is there should not be different lanes in the road. You pay for an access, and that's what you get. Or the way it should be, anyways. But
like we were
that's
saying
my
before,
opinion.
Yeah, like we were saying before, like even if it does happen in the US, you know other countries are going to follow suit, and you know that since there's so many servers that we all use in the US, either servers are going to go elsewhere, or we're all going to get done up the butt. Because it's just going to screw everybody in the world over. That's what US need to think about. This isn't just harming their own country. This is influencing how the networks across the world, you know?
Tabaxian in the IRC says, "Google, come to me."
Well, and it's funny because they talk about that in the article because everybody's basically saying, fiber is the answer. And I am linking the link to the YouTube thing. Watch it as soon as we're done. But they say that one of the issues is actually most cities across at least the United States already have fiber networked throughout, but it's all dark. The only things that are using it in most cities are the government agencies and schools. And the reason that is when the fiber was put in, all of these ISPs put in non-compete clauses to the deals they did with each of these companies that basically said, we'll give you great internet as long as you don't allow anyone else to use this municipal fiber, and you don't let any other companies come in to compete with us. And it's great. It goes into it with the rant and rave that he goes into again with it, even where it talks about how they say it themselves that they're talking about the merger between Time Warner and Comcast, and how in it it's not going to actually, that it's basically just a monopoly and why should we care that they're getting a bigger monopoly? But in part of it they say, because it's perfectly fine for us to merge because we don't compete against each other now, so it's not like anything would change. And so it's just like, wait, what? That's the point. This is wrong. You should be competing against each other, damn it. That's why we have anti-monopoly rules. So that you can't just own and control everything, but they're actually going through to everyone else. And it's funny because, some of you out there actually may get access to Google Fiber eventually. I know Octale and I are both waiting bated breath, or anyone in the area, or I'm sure everyone, give me a direct connection to fiber. And just...
With my luck, sir...
day after you transition?
Yes, it'll probably happen 2 weeks after I move to Norway.
You get the note that comes in the mail right as you're packing up that says, "We are happy to let you know." Oh, that would
Try Google Fiber. Damn you!
But here's the advantage. You move to anywhere else in the world, everyone else has better internet.
I know.
Hey Ken, you bastard.
I know. Well, so here's the thing that I need to really be careful about. The thing I need to be careful about is making sure that when I get into an apartment in Norway, it has wired internet. Because there are a lot of places that just have wireless.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, wired is important. Although, the nice thing with wireless is they're getting better, but if you're stuck on wireless based on, what the building provides, I don't know, maybe the thing you do is you go talk to the local owner and kind of say, hey, here's this new router. Would you guys like me to be your IT guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So I'm like I said, as long as I get wired internet to the house, I don't really care necessarily all that much. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good. Simply because, I mean, all that oil money is paying for the internet in my country, or my new country, or my about-to-be country. I'm not even sure how to describe it yet, but, so yeah, I mean, yeah, Google Fiber will come to my place, like, right after I move, so it would be like, yeah, I handed Comcast $1 billion for decent internet, and no such luck.
Exactly.
I was going to say, sorry, I've been muted for the past like 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, I saw the lips moving, and I was trying to get your attention with that to say like, hey, Ken, are you trying to add something to the conversation, or just
a few times I've tried to. I was going to say, just for everyone who doesn't know, Todd and I, if we could switch positions right now, that would be fantastic for both.
Yep.
If you guys could just do a straight swap.
Yeah, like you can have you can have this house if you want, no problem. We'll just have a straight swap. You have a good internet. It's cool, and we can both see our wives. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
I was gonna say, maybe I wonder if you can make that kind of deal. How hard would that be? Look, we just want to do an exchange. Come on, guys, right? That should work.
Yeah, call it a prisoner exchange. You're willing to do it with Taliban guys? Like, can't we just do it real quick?
Outstanding.
That's okay. Nine weeks in theory to go at the outside. So
hey,
good luck.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, we put the documents in the middle of February. It's supposed to take 6 months to get an answer back. Nominal processing time. We had one immigration lawyer from Oslo look at our application before we sent it in, and they had said it was good. My wife apparently got a second opinion from a different immigration lawyer that my mother-in-law knows apparently, and based on the conversation that they had, we should be good. We're just waiting. So
we've sent our documentation. We're just waiting as well. We've heard nothing from them except when they said, "What's your address?" before we can eventually send back your stuff. We don't know if that means we've already failed it and we want to send back your stuff.
Oh no!
For one day.
Oh, that would be unfortunate. Yeah. Oh, we're so excited! It comes back. It's like, so denied.
Yeah.
And still no activity on the bank account, Ken. You're still watching that like a hawk.
Oh right, I forgot about that. Yeah. So you know how a month or two ago I mentioned how that one company, the stupid web hosting one, Streamline.net, tried to fine me for something that I may have signed up for, but I signed up for the trial, and then they were going to try and charge me for the next 2 years, and it was going to cost £200 and something, plus admin fees for not having my card not have expired on the website. I mean, clearly it's a big scam, because you don't do a 1 year trial and then after the year expect that card not to have gone out and to be chargeable and to pre-charge them for 2 years of web hosting. Bit dodgy, especially in the UK. Like normally, like say you're on Amazon or something and you have a card on there, you try to pay for something, and say, oh, it's expired, so we're just going to cancel your order, and that's it. Whereas this company is trying to say, hey, you owe us money, and extra now. And they kept trying to send me letters and emails saying, you owe us money, we're going to charge you extra, even more now, even more. Apparently, I read on the forums, if you get in touch with them, they might discount it slightly, but you still have to pay them like a ton of money. Hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And if you just ignore them, it's fine. So I went with the slightly more dangerous route, and I've ignored them. And the deadline passed like 3 Mondays ago, and not heard a peep. Bank account's fine. They've stopped emailing me every other day. Just done. Funny that.
Interesting.
Assholes.
The real life trolls from the internet. Oh, that is so bad.
Yeah.
So, as we get close to the end of the show time, I don't think I'll have time to get into all this stuff I was going to talk about my week geek-wise, which is fine. No, because we have guests.
Can I bring something up real quick?
You can.
Just one thing real quick. You put something out, reset the net on Twitter, and I just wanted to get I mean, I'm sure it's kind of self-explanatory, but what if you wanted to add anything to what?
So I don't have much to say about it, because admittedly, and I think Ken and I both fall into this category, we signed up to an account on a site a while back for the cat signal. which is essentially a time whenever big things on the internet are going out that might affect all of our access and things that we would probably be caring about. And so they're kind of like part of how EFF and things like that organizations do to keep track of our digital rights. And so they are an activist type group that keep an eye on the web and laws that are going through, and so they automatically will tweet out via our accounts to allow all of our listeners and all of our fans to watch and be able to get active themselves to try to save our internets. And so I did not myself put that out, but that is something proxied through me from this group. And essentially was saying this is an opportunity for people to make a statement online by trying to take back the internet in a way. And basically to tell the United States government, stop fighting against us and start doing what we, your constituents, want, not what big business wants.
No, we gave that up a couple of years ago when the Supreme Court said money is speech. So that's done. We're not constituents anymore. We're just proletariat.
Well,
we're just the money base.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
But
in
not
the
the
UK,
voting one.
We don't actually necessarily have freedom. The clauses and the way the laws are put are you have limited freedom effectively. So while in the US technically you have freedom of speech apart from causing riots and hate crime and sexism and stuff like that. Here in the UK it's kind of where yours says here is the blacklist of stuff. Ours is more here's the whitelist. So I actually have less rights than you guys. But in reality, none of this is acted out. I mean, no, but it's not as if it's like friggin' what's it called? V for Vendetta, No, yeah. Anyway.
But the laws are in place, so it could be.
Yeah. I mean, if a corrupt government got in place, which it seems to be going towards right now within the UK, I don't know if you guys are following our politics, but it's not going well right now. We'll see what happens.
That's all right. You'll be Scotland by yourself at some point, right?
Possibly, and we might only just be the UK without Europe. We might just be a self-contained entity.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like Succession stuff. What are you trying to be, Americans? What are you doing?
Apparently, well, one party's trying to push out all immigrants because, people with other skin colors and accents are bad.
They took our
clearly.
gerbs. It's gerbs. They're worried about gerbs.
That's exactly what it is, even though there's more than enough gerbs going about, Don't get me started. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all just a bad taste in my mouth.
Sorry. So, but yes, as we exit out, I did want to at least go through. Shoot, now I'm not sure if I'll have time. I will try. I'm going to try to get through the email that we did get this week. That is still geek cred.
Ooh.
And so this one comes in, and the subject is, I have been nerdy too. And it is a slight wall of text, so I will do my best. And this comes to us from Pusa saying, my weekend. I've been LARPing from Saturday at 9:30 to Sunday at 1600. So in the proud city of Nibelheim, pronounce it like Germans, I don't know. The pyromancer Valha has set fire to elves, set fire to trees, set fire to the angry spirits that came out of the trees, been escorted by armed companies of soldiers to go to the next spirit tree to torch, been chased by 28 angry elves, set fire to some of them, fought next to the high priestess of Sigmar, set fire to the people she was trying to hit with her hammer, participated in 3 city council meetings, fired the city guard commander, taken the position of city guard commander, been under ridiculous accusations, and set fire to more people. Not to mention, I got to be the light show mage. You sound like Copy in Borderlands. Let's see. My primary trick was the glowing fireballs, little hollowed out balls of foam painted red and with one of those little electrical tea candles inside for the fire effect. Finished the last one of those Friday night and they were drying overnight. My second most awesome trick that freaked out a bunch of people was the fact that when the twilight fell and it grew dark in the forest, my right hand started glowing red, literally glowing. The trick was that trick was made by having a little red flashlight up my sleeve literally, that lit up my palm but not much beyond that. It gave just enough light to see me in the forest floor when we returned to town after burning 6 more trees and kept me from falling over branches and stuff in the darkness. The first thing people saw was my glowing red hand that was twitching as if it was summoning a fireball, and according to all the players, it looked awesome as hell. The next day, when the threat from elves was dealt with, I managed to get the head of Nibelheim city guard fired for gross neglect, abusing the city resources and being a bad example for the city guard. The city guard is a unit of new players and are often sent to in order to get introduced to the game, get some fighting experience with LARP weapons, soft boffer weapons, and earn a small wage. I ended up being given the task by the city council to take over the guy's job and rebuild the guard, establishing a solid base of sergeants and appointing a competent captain, as well as adopting the administrative parts, keeping track of fines collected and wages paid, etc. This is hecka LARPing. Let's see, the last one, as we are out of time and I'm slow. So I have been busy. I'm tired as heck due to an owl waking me up at 4:30 in the morning and me realizing that I was really uncomfy in the sleeping bag and unable to get back to sleep until 6. There's no game between 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. to allow people some rest. And I haven't even had a chance to wash the Agsea, fire magic, marks off my cheeks. That's what those were. So no gaming for me tonight. I've been making slowly fireballs and been making throwable fireballs, little bags full of rice to use in battle. Been repairing my pouch, found a way to turn the light of the flashlight red, practice my fire marks, and to redraw them in the morning by hand. And has worked on making new shoes for the LARP. The last project I did finish in time and resulted in my feet are killing me. My LARP boots has 2-inch heels. Normally I wear flat shoes. 2 days of heels equal ouchie. Chill out, nerds! From Pusa. Thank you very much,
Jeez,
Pusa.
you've been busy, Pusser.
That was an epic wall. And now it is time for us to get out of here. I do not see the casuals in the room, so I do not know if they're on today, and I don't see a Barry or anyone else to kick on, but I think they were
I'm
out
scanning
at...
Twitter right now.
Well, I think they were at the Phoenix Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah,
to
that's
that
right.
effect?
Yeah, I think that is correct.
So I
we
believe
can't
that's
overrun
what the
them.
casual is up to. So yes, us overrunning is not the end of the world, but I did want to get that in. So with that, depending on if you guys have anything else you want to do, we could either end the show or I could do my little tidbit. Up to you, all of you.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. I'm enjoying it. Are you guys got to run off anywhere? Are you okay to stay a bit longer?
I've got some time.
Yeah, I don't
not
have
a
much
lot,
myself. I'm supposed to be in Boulder here shortly, so I will have to run away. But I did want to talk about my little bit of geekiness this week, so I can get that in there. One, I have continued to utilize my 3D printer to some success and some failure, and I'm still learning the process. There's a bit of art to it in the current state because it is not just a complete production thing that just works. But my Robo 3D is still piling on. In fact, most of the time, other than during the show, I've had it printing something. So I'm almost through the first reel of material they gave me for free with the printer, the
Nice.
filament. And so it's been a fun experience, but I'm gonna
All working
video
okay?
at least.
Yeah, the
So-
last thing I remember hearing about this was that you tried to print something and it only printed like half of it. The top
I've had
half
that-
of something or
I've
other.
had that multiple times, in fact, and I'm holding up. There's examples where somehow there's some consistency issues with the way the prints go, where it won't lay down even filament across the whole thing, and I don't know if that's the print head. We'll
not
see.
good.
Since I bought a new one, hopefully when that gets here, I'll be able to do something with it. But I had some success where like it has a built-in program for me to create my own stuff, and so I was able to print out a little VTW, which I think is nice.
Hey.
Hey.
I also
see that.
printed
Oh, that
out
was
the
cool.
cover or the actual rack that's mounted now on top of a 3D printer, which I'll show there, which is holding the little spool on top via the instructions that I saw online. And so, like I said, I've done some that worked really well, and then some that just have been complete blobby messes. So I'm learning, but I've had more success than failure lately. The thing I was going to show is I made a cup with a lid, although it's unfortunate because this is one that also had a little bit of issue because there's holes and such where you can see the inconsistency. And the worst part is the inconsistency of holes in the bottom. And so you can see right through it, so that's not really going to do much for holding anything other than maybe dry objects. Not
I can see your
fluids,
pro.
that's for sure. But it had a cool little lid that came with it as well that, since it also has holes, I guess I can use as a funnel. Maybe make this into a drink thing of somehow. Anyhow, that's been fun. As a continued thing, another thing I picked up, and this is kind of just a piece of advice for anyone that might not have heard it, although hopefully you have, is that I got, please say none of this fell apart here, a new controller for the PC. And what I did is a new controller in the sense that it's a controller everyone could get, but they finally released drivers for the Xbox One controller for the PC. And so
I did hear this,
hopefully-
yes.
And so if you haven't seen that now, the one thing is it's a heads up a micro USB connection because you can't do it wirelessly yet, but you can directly connect it via USB. And the controllers, when you buy them, do not come with USB. So they just sit
So
there.
the out on the controller is a micro USB?
Yes, the little front on the controller where
Oh,
you
that's
plug it
kind of
in is a
annoying.
micro USB. It's not the normal mini USBs, the bigger of those small connections. It's the
I
tiny one that
hate
most
this
cell
too,
phones
though.
have.
They're so confusing.
Yes, it is annoying. Everyone should just pick one. I don't know an advantage for one or the other. If the small one can remove all the data and power, just use the small one and everything and save the footprint. But it is arguably one of the better controllers you can get hold of today. And so I wanted to get a new one since the old one I had was a little wonky, wouldn't hold its straights quite right. So I just wanted to throw that out there that those drivers are available. The controllers here at least are $60, but it's really nice. Now as soon as I get the wireless, that'll be even more better. So hopefully that'll happen soon. And the last thing is we're going through and talking about movies and stuff like that are happening. And as Octale, you had mentioned the stuff with X-Men. I have actually gotten back into reading physical comics again. I have been going to the comic store, about once a month to pick things up. Mostly because there's a limited run of Sandman going, the prequel for Neil Gaiman, for the original Sandman series of how Morpheus first got caught. And so I've been enjoying that he's put out new content. And then as we're getting ready for these new arc of movies coming out from Marvel primarily, I've been picking up little ones back and forth, and one I just got was like the Thanos Annual. And so Thanos, however you say his name, is the lead like galactic enemy that's going to be coming out through the Avengers series. And I've read like the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff like that in the past, but this new one was picking up a little bit, telling some more of the past of him and some of the things he experienced going on before the Infinity Gauntlet series. And so I thought that was pretty epic. And it's just neat because going back into a comic book store after years of not regularly, it's interesting seeing all the different comics that are out there these days and how like they're rebooting so many series. DC is completely reboot with, I think there's the New 52. Where almost all their old characters have been done new, except that one of them that really gets me is they did, what was it? With this, they did John Constantine. They moved him away from being on Vertigo Comics, which was the subtitle that had for DC that had all the other stuff, and put him as one of the ones to now in the New 52 as a full DC title, and that was kind of like jarring for me. So. A little interesting bit, but so that's kind of everything I had that I want to at least get out there so I can focus on what I'll be doing this week because I am going to Comic-Con this coming weekend, and in doing so, there is a likelihood, Denver Comic-Con, there's a likelihood that I may not make it on the show next week, depending on the schedule. So Ken, hopefully he'll be ready for that, and all of you are welcome to come back, both Hando and Octale, if you want. And the main thing with it, because I don't know if anyone else has been paying attention to the lineup of what Denver Comic-Con's having for guests. I've mentioned it on some occasion, but some of them is like the entire cast, except for Picard, of the Next Generation Star Trek crew.
That's awesome.
And Deanna Troi, Tasha Yar, Worf, William Riker, Jodie LaForge, and Beverly Crusher.
Deanna.
As well
Deanna Troi.
Yes, as well as Captain Kirk's coming back again. So we're going to have Shatner as well.
What?
Yep.
Shatner must really like Colorado.
Something, because the fact that he came last time on short notice and now he's going to make it a regular gig, it'll be interesting. And also from like television series and stuff like that, other general geek stuff, from, I'm assuming the show is Lost Girl, which I haven't seen, to the actresses from that, Emmanuel, Vagier and Rachel Skarsten. But then from Defiance, the show, Stephanie Leonidas. From, and this one I thought, Octale, you'd appreciate, Gigi Edgley. Do you remember who she is?
No.
The gal from Farscape. The gray hair alien gal?
I never watched
the gray skin? Oh, you didn't see that one. Oh, I thought you had. I thought you were one of the ones who did see it. No. But she was, I thought, like the hottie from that show. Anyways.
Okay.
Some of the comic ones, Lou Ferrigno's going to be there, the Hulk. Stephen Amell, he's actually being sponsored out by Mile High Comics. Stephen Amell from Arrow, the current series. The original Batman and Robin, Adam West and Burt Ward are coming. As well as the original Catwoman, Julie Newmar. Yes. From other normal stuff, media and movies today, Bruce Campbell from Burn Notice and, of course, Army of Darkness and Evil Dead series. Carl Urban is coming. So Carl Urban from Star Trek and, for me, Judge Dredd from Dredd. Gentleman from Once Upon a Time, Raphael Sabarg. Someone from Eureka, Sally from Eureka, and a Peter Davison from Doctor Who. But there's more! People that like watching The Walking Dead. Their assistant director is coming, as well as the guy who plays Dixon and the younger Carl Grimes.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're having Power Rangers come. The Blue Ranger, Green Ranger, Lord Zed, and the Black Ranger are all coming.
Oh.
Voices from some of our favorite cartoons. Kevin Conroy from Batman, as Batman. Veronica Taylor, that played Ash on Pokemon. Jim Cummings, who voiced Darkwing Duck. Greg Weisman from Gargoyle series. And Greg Guller from Phineas and Ferb. I'm telling you, this
You're
is
missing
like...
out the only thing that's actually important, of course, is which should they go in?
Not that I'm aware of. Sorry.
See,
you missed that opportunity. She was there last year.
You say that, Ken, and Wayne started to mention Power Rangers being in attendance. There's only one that matters.
Oh, the
Amy
Pink
Jo
Ranger?
Johnson. And if she's not going to be there...
No, she's not going to be there. She isn't, unfortunately. There's some other people that have been announced, and I don't know how many of them are actually going to make it or not. But Max Charles, who has done a bunch of things, he's been acting forever apparently, young kid. Katie Lotz, who's apparently on the show Black Canary on CW, which I have not seen. But Edward James Olmos is coming. So we get to see Admiral Amidala, or Adama, I mean. Amidala. God damn that Star Wars stuff. Sorry. Admiral Adama.
That was good.
That was terrible. I am a horrible person. As well as a voice actor, Jeremy Shada from Adventure Time, the one that actually plays Finn on Adventure Time, who didn't make it for when he was supposed to be out here for Wasabi. Oh well. As well as others, and so a lot that were coming. One that was supposed to come, but I think backed out or had a schedule conflict. I was a little disappointed. But the redhead from the newer Doctor Who series, the redhead companion, that I quite like.
Chillin'?
Yeah, she was scheduled, but I don't know if she's actually still making it or not. But regardless of that, it's going to be such an epic lineup that I just may not make it, guys. There's so much going on.
Within the next 2 months, there's so much going on. Like, there's this crazy Nerdtaculars happening, and Woodstock, and oh man, I love listening to that stuff just on my phone when I'm working. Oh, it's so great.
Yep. Oh, and
I hope one day I can go to them all. That'll be awesome.
Well, for the Indeed guys, one of the things, and this is happening, gosh, is it Thursday or Friday night? One of the nights prior to the main thing occurring at one of the clubs or bars downtown, they're having geek, basically music come in, and so the Double Clicks will be there. One of our friends of the network, since we have an interview of them with the other guys that did that. So I'm looking forward to hopefully going and catching that. There's just too much going on. Darn it. So, anyhow, as people have heard, the background music has run out, and I am afraid to click anything because everything I have queued up after that is the exit of the show, and it's currently yelling at me from my hard drive, saying it can't find something. So, with that, we're going to try to close the show, and we'll see what plays next as we end things up. But, Ken, could you do us the deal and give all the spiel? Oh, well, before that, Octale and Hando. Octale, could you let people know where they can find you and anything that you've been up to, and let them, if they're interested in finding out more?
Sure. My Twitter feed is @theoctale. I'm obviously posting on the site as a blogger under the name Octale, so everything that I post will be tagged as such. That's how you find me nowadays. I don't want to promise anything yet, but if everything works with Norway Move the way it's looking like it's going to, I will be doing something post-move. I just don't know what it is yet. So stay tuned and stand by. Otherwise, @theoctale is where you find me on Twitter.
Come on, podcast.
Come on. Yeah.
And Hando, how about yourself?
You can find me at Hando VTW on Twitter. Guys, if you want to play Wildstar, send me something over that, and I'd just like to get some Wildstar peeps going on.
I believe there's a guild going on VTW, actually. I think there's
good.
Well,
we'll have to get together then, because that's going to be the game I'm going to be playing for. That's going to be my grindy MMO. So that's that. Yep, send me something over that, guys.
All right, definitely. So, Ken, lead us out with what you got, and then I'll click the magic button to see what the Sam broadcaster does, and we'll get out of here.
First of all, thank you all for joining us, both listeners and Mr. Hando here and the Octale. Thank you both for joining us. We really do appreciate it. It's been good fun. Check us out. Go along to VTLiberations.com. Go to forums at the top, and within there you can find the ShowX board. There you can find the art contest. Take part. There are three different sections you can take part in. Please take part. Please do. I really appreciate it. Check us out on Twitter. Go to twitter.com/docdead, twitter.com/gohex, twitter.com/VCWShowX, all kind of self-explanatory. And also, check out these two guys' Twitter as well. Send us emails, showx@VCWProductions.com. Give us suggestions, feedback. Tell us what you've been up to that's in your geekiness in the past week or so. Tell us information, anything, topics, anything you want to talk about. All that's welcome. Also, VCW Gaming Night is every Sunday, every single Sunday, straight after Show X. You can jump into the Ventrilo and come take part in a bunch of gaming, whether we're playing single-player games together or playing multiplayer games together. It's all good fun. And with that, I believe that's everything. So thank you for having me on the show as well, Mr. Wayne.
Outstanding. Thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully, the show will see you next week, even if I do. Hopefully, you'll hear things as I click this button. We continue on. As that, catch all the shows on VTW, and I will catch you guys later.
Send in your emails to showx at vtwproductions.com. Goodbye. See you next Sunday. Good night. Also, God.
But enough of this yakking, because it is now time for a song about pirates!
I think they be ready for this one.
Indeed.